Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
And the Blank Check Award goes to your earbuds for you to listen to, because this is a podcast for you. Whoever's...
I don't like you. I really don't like
you.
I'm
whiffing on these week after
week. That was
week.
funny. My thing was funny.
I'm Griffin Newman.
I'm David Sims.
This is Blank Check with Griffin and David.
Yeah.
A podcast that is usually constructed a mini-series.
Right.
But sometimes a one-off.
Yeah, specials.
We're in the middle of a mini-series called...
Oh my God, enough.
Pod Night Shyamacast.
Yeah.
Exploring the films of M. Night Shyamalan in order. But this is a one-off because, David, this is a very special time of year.
For the first time in our history as podcasters.
Yeah, because we started, I think...
In March.
In
right
March.
after.
We started in a March. We get to cover Hollywood's biggest night, David.
Yeah.
The best and brightest come out.
Yeah.
Wear their finest duds.
Yeah.
And try to, in the hopes of coming home with some hardware.
Yeah, Teen Choice Awards.
Yeah, the Teen Choice Awards. So this is our, if we chose the Teen Choice Awards. We're no longer teens. David and I are both in our 20s.
I'm barely in my 20s.
Yeah. I have to say, I did vote in the Kids' Choice Awards, which I don't know if that's going to, if by admitting this, it now...
No, the Kids' Choice Awards is the Nickelodeon blimp.
Yes.
And the Teen Choice Awards is the surfboard.
It's a Fox surfboard.
Right.
I got to say, really underwhelmed by the nominees for the Kids' Choice Awards this year.
Really?
Yeah, in that I didn't know 98% of them.
Times change.
Yeah, but Hotel Transylvania 2 was nominated for Best Animated Film, which is more than I can say for the Oscars. Callback. This is the Blank Check Awards.
Oh, yeah, we're doing the blankies.
The blankies! Our common thread throughout all our subjects that we cover on this podcast is the idea of the blank check.
Mm-hmm.
If someone being given free reign to make whatever they want, usually because they have such monumental success early in their career that people keep on giving them the blank check to make their project in the hopes that they will replicate that magic one more time. Guess who's got the blank check today?
Us?
The two friends. We got a blank check because enough people listen to our podcast that we get to pick the Oscars.
I mean, so we've decreed.
And it will have no bearing on anything whatsoever.
So for all you guys who love listening to us just talk the year's movies, this is the podcast for you.
This is like the most side tangent-y episode.
Right. For everyone who's excited to hear about The Village, wait till next week.
Next week, we're coming back strong with Pod Night Shyamacast. We have a very special guest with us today.
Yes.
We talked,
really the only guest.
The only guest we could possibly have.
Yep.
He, much like us, is a devourer of Oscar knowledge. Not just winners, but the ephemera of the award shows, the moments, David, within the ceremony himself.
Yeah. He knows things that no human knows about the Oscars.
He's a keeper of secrets.
Yes.
He's a master.
All right.
Of Oscars. And I don't know. And in our ongoing collection of trying to collect different groups.
Our collection of trying to collect different groups?
Our guests.
Yeah,
we try to
You're
collect
saying
different groups of guests.
we've gotten another trivia team member.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
we've netted him finally.
Possibly. I mean, he was really the third corner of our power triangle in our team.
Okay.
No, because you and I were going...
No, I know. It's just the power triangle is not a phrase I've ever heard before.
That's what people used to call us, the power triangle. No, but you and I would go alone, and sometimes we have a friend, and then we were like, we need to build a solid team. And we added this man as our third permanent member. Not that there weren't other permanent members, but he was a rock. He was there every week for us. And what happened? We won 2 seasons in a row with him.
We did. He's shaking his head right now.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Being very good about not saying anything until just this second.
Yeah.
He is a entertainment writer. He currently writes for The Decider, where he wrote a very nice piece about our podcast.
He did.
Where
he wrote a really good piece about the Simpsons episode Homer's Phobia that I read.
Yes.
Yesterday, I think.
Good one.
It was, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Joe Reid.
Hey, Joe Reid.
I tried to be that cool podcast guest who wouldn't say anything, and I couldn't.
No, I prefer the people who just sort of butt
just
in.
Bluster in, and you don't know who's that voice, who's that strange voice
and
on
they're
my
excited,
podcast.
and they do know, of
I
course.
thought it was just 2 friends.
They
What's
looked
going
at
on?
the title.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about podcasts.
It's true. It's true. You should ideally have already been enticed by this before you even hit play.
Right. Some podcasts, the title is literally only the names of the guests.
That's true.
And yet they pretend.
Wait, am I getting above title billing for this podcast?
I don't know.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Ben, you do the titles.
You know, I was a supporter of PCast Shyamalan, so I don't know whether that breaks the tie with it.
Look, I appreciate your support
Thank
in any form I can get it. I mean, see, we don't believe in twists here. We're not a bunch of Shyamalan, so we'll just say who the guest is. But I do think there's an order thing. You did sort of spoil a surprise.
What, that Ben's here again?
Hey, don't say it.
He's back.
I'm back, baby.
He's here the whole time.
You know how the Golden Globes
But
have...
I'm very comfortable with not speaking up. I just
I know, you're better.
guys
Did
work.
you
Whatever.
hear the sign? Did you listen back to the Signs episode yet?
Yeah.
When Ben's voice comes over on the walkie-talkie, it genuinely sounds strange.
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
You sound you sound like a ghost coming through the walls.
Maybe I planned it.
You know how the Golden Globes always have Miss Golden Globe? They have
Yes.
it's a second generation Hollywood, sometimes even third generation. Remember Dakota Johnson before she was a movie star?
Very true.
Was third generation because it was
Right.
Tippi Hedren and then Melanie Griffith and then herself. But it's always second generation or third generation Hollywood royalty, and it's like it's a coming out. It's like, here's Jamie Foxx's daughter. She's gonna wear a lovely
Do
dress.
what you will with her, Hollywood.
Right.
And do they even hold the awards like the statues, or do they just stand there?
That sometimes feels like they're like assistant award holder. Like
Right,
they're still
right,
a professional award holder.
Right,
Who, like,
but they
is
get to
good at
stand
that.
next to them and maybe
help
right.
escort
They
them off stage or
they
whatever.
escort, yeah.
Well, guess who's been chosen to be our Mr.
Oh,
Blank
my.
Check Awards today?
Who?
I'll give you a hint. We call him Birthday Benny, even
Oh,
though it
fuck.
only is his birthday once a year.
Yeah.
We call him the tiebreaker. Call him the poet laureate. Call him the Haas. We call him Producer Ben.
Yeah.
We do.
We call him Purduer Ben.
Yeah.
Catch him on a good day, he might be
All right.
the Ben Deuce.
Let's speed it up.
Call him the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Did I say that one
You
already?
did.
Yeah. We call him. Why am I? What?
My favorite, Hello Fennel.
Hello,
Oh,
Fennel. I was trying to save that one
Did you
for
get
last.
Kylo
the Peeper,
Ben?
Kylo Ben, Producer Ben
Peeper's
Kenobi.
a good one.
Yeah.
I had someone randomly
Not
come
Professor
up to
Crispy.
me.
Not Professor Crispy.
Someone said hello Fennel to me. But I didn't know.
Just like on the
I
street?
got really excited.
That's-
Yeah.
that's a
It was at
genuine
UCB
fan
show.
thing.
Was it a coincidence? Was it just someone saying, hello, Fennel? And then you were
Yeah,
like,
right.
like the podcast? And he was like, podcast?
No, I thought you were a
This
piece
dude
of
was like-
fennel.
he was
Didn't
like,
realize
"Hello,
you were like
Fennel."
eating just loose fennel from a bag.
Was there
I
any
do.
was there
As
any
you do.
conversation following that, or did he just walk away after that?
I was awestruck. I was just like, yeah, it's me, man. Fennel. I misspoke, and now I have to think about it every
Fennel,
fucking
bro.
week.
Before we started recording, me and Benny were having a conversation about how he's such a goofy guy.
He's a real goofball.
And I was trying
I
to
can't talk to you guys like before we record.
I was trying to figure out how to do that, like to have a new name, nom de plume, that has the word goofy in it, but I couldn't get it.
Yeah, no, it's tough. We'll come up with something.
Oh yeah, of course we will.
Email him with your thoughts. And speaking of that,
He took a big swig of water.
dramatically, because I had to wet my whistle for this one. Ready? We have an email account.
Oh yeah,
I had forgot to sync it with my phone, so I hadn't been reading the emails.
yeah.
Turns out,
I got an email alert when you synced it with your phone last night, and I was briefly afraid that someone was trying to hack my email.
but it was just good old Griffey.
Yeah.
I had forgotten when we set up, or I don't know which of us set the you set the Twitter account. We kept email notifications on, so I went to our email inbox and it was like 400 messages of anytime anything happened on Twitter.
Oh yeah, right. Like, remember when Twitter would just email you if
Yeah.
like someone favorited your tweet?
Yeah,
I still have had to like create like a subfolder to like direct all those to, and if I
Oh,
ever like
God.
stumble upon it, it's just like this horrible wasteland of like 1,000 all Twitter emails.
yeah. There were
It's
even
terrible.
like aside from like who followed you, who faved. It was also just like, hey, check out this new tweet from David Itzkoff, and I was like, I don't need recommendations. It's Twitter.
Itzkoff's doing fine enough on his own.
Yeah,
He doesn't need my retweet.
He's doing fine.
He's doing fine.
I found 2 genuine emails, and
In this wasteland.
in this wasteland. One of them was from Will Stutz, who sent in some recommendations of future miniseries. I'm not going to read them on air because we might use some of them.
Sure.
But the other one I must read. David, Joe, Ben, I must.
Simply must.
Is it from M Night?
It's from a lady named Erin Ashby.
Okay.
And the subject heading is Fisto and the Haas, a fan fiction.
Oh,
Oh,
boy,
no,
you're not going to read
no.
fan fiction right now, are you? Come
Fisto
on.
and the Haas. Blank check with Griffin and David / Star Wars crossover. Category fluff / light angst. She's formatting this like it's on a proper fan fiction website. Relationships. Ben Hosley / Kit Fisto. Rated T, I think for teen. Trigger warning. Questionable transcription of a Jamaican accent. It's short. I promise you it's short.
I swear to God.
Kit strode into the studio and plopped down on the couch next to Ben, heaving a sigh. What a day, Kit said. Ben snuck a peek at the wary Nautilin, cleared his throat. Ah, yeah? Rough day at the old Clone Wars, huh? You said it, Kit said. Between Da Stupid Idiot and these... Oh, I guess Kit Fisto's supposed to be Jamaican. Between Da Stupid Idiot and these toilet chairs in the Jedi Council, I cannot catch a break.
Cut all of this, right, Ben?
My ass is on fire. I'm sounding like Dracula.
Swear to God.
Kit let his eyes slip shut, but making up for the lack of one sense, his thick, empathetic tendrils sniffed out the emotion around him. Immediately, he felt Ben's distress. Hello, Fennel, Kit gasped, sitting up and resting a hand.
How much more of this is
it's
there?
It's very short.
Really, how much
One
more of this
paragraph
is
left.
there?
On his friend's shoulder. What is wrong? Tell me now, Benduser. I can feel your pain. Ha! Ben shook his head. Nothing. I was just sketching these new lightsaber designs. He tapped his sketch pad and Kit frowned at the rough drawings. Those weapons are far too large. Yeah, well, I just like things really big. Kit, now realizing the cause of his friend's heartache, grinned and leaned in, tossing Mr. Positive a saucy wink. I understand. I think I can help with that. In the other room, a desperate voice pleaded, Guys, I can hear you in the earphones. It's really fucking creepy. Come in here if you're going to do that so I can see you.
Are you going to cut that?
I love that.
It was a good story.
Because it ended with what I subscribe to, which is I like things big.
Yeah. Thank you to Aaron Ashby.
Thanks, Aaron.
Clearly a master talent, a writer on the rise. You know how to turn a phrase, and we appreciate your support. So please send in all other fan fiction you have.
Yeah.
blankcheckpod@gmail.com.
Okay, Griffin.
Blank Check Podcast, I think. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick the Oscars.
Yeah.
Who
Like
needs
the
the
old
Oscars?
Siskel and Eberts of yore.
Who needs a bunch of old stuck-up white men? Here are 4 young white men in a group with full autonomy and full power.
Oh, thank you for calling me young. I appreciate it.
Of course. So we're going to go through the major categories, and we're each going to pick our 5, and then who we would win. And then
Who we would win.
who we would bestow the trophy upon. I slept 3 hours last night. My brain is not running. If we have extra time, we might pick some notables that we would nominate in below the line categories for the technical awards, things like that.
Sure.
So I think we got to start out with our best picture, right?
Yeah. Do you want to start at the top?
You want to work?
Oh, I
Wanna
mean,
work
we
down?
could do the traditional supporting actor categories first. Really hew to the Oscars example.
I think maybe let's do that, right?
Yeah.
Joe, do you want to start with supporting actress?
Sure, let's start with supporting actress.
So this is the films of 2015, guys.
So I'm just gonna lay out my 5 and then pass it on.
We'll
to you.
we'll
Yeah.
chat.
We'll chew over them. All right. In classic Oscar order, then alphabetically,
You're a pro. Look at that. Jeez.
Elizabeth Banks for Love and Mercy,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Sarah Paulson for Carol,
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart, Clouds of Sils Maria,
Mm,
Kristen Wiig, Diary of a Teenage Girl,
she was good.
and Kate Winslet for Steve Jobs.
Interesting.
What do you
Lots to
think?
discuss.
Only
Lots
Kate
to
Winslet.
discuss.
Only Kate Winslet is Oscar nominated of those 5.
I think that's going to be a running thing. Is I expect we have one overlap.
Yeah, a little bit
for-
overlap
Yeah,
with the actual Oscar, although
and I
think
thought the
have
Oscar
none.
nominations were fine in acting categories for this acting category. I thought it was okay.
Well, they've got the 2 leads.
That's
They've got
always a
Rooney Mara
problem.
and Alicia Vikander,
You know, I don't like that.
and I don't like it either.
Yeah.
And especially this year when there was room upstairs for them. Well,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well,
Oh no. I
Best
don't know.
Actress was pretty competitive.
Best
this
actress
year.
is pretty.
But I mean, you roll with the performance you have. Rooney Mara is not a supporting
Nope.
actress in that movie.
Nope.
And it sort of it shoves out Sarah Paulson, who I think was an actual supporting actress in that movie and was really good.
See, that's what I like about what you're doing, Joe. Is you're really taking a stand, which
I
is
am.
like
Yeah.
if Rooney
I am
Mara's a
nothing if not
supporting
principled.
actress,
Yeah.
then what's Sarah Paulson? A fucking cameo? No, that's a real supporting part.
Yeah, I agree. So we all liked Paulson. Should we all do our lists and then talk to see where we have
maybe each
overlap?
throw our 5 out and
Okay.
then debate. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
David, do you want to go?
My best supporting actresses were Joan Allen in Room,
Nice.
Rose Byrne in Spy.
Great choice.
Jada Pinkett Smith in Magic Mike, Double XL. Kristen Stewart in Clouds of Sils Maria. And Elizabeth Waterston in Queen of Earth. The underseen
Catherine
Alex
Waterston?
Ross Perry. Catherine Waterston. I always call her Elizabeth Waterston.
She looks
for some
like an
reason.
I
Elizabeth.
always call her Sam Waterston.
Now, what? But there isn't an Elizabeth Waterston in the world, right?
I don't believe
I'm
so.
I'm just giving her. Yeah, Catherine Waterston in Queen of Earth. Sorry.
I'm sure there is
wrote
an
her
Elizabeth
down.
Waterston in the world, but probably not in the action community.
Who can say?
My choices for Best Supporting Actress are Elizabeth Banks for Love and Mercy,
Nice.
Wow, you guys liked her.
Rebecca Ferguson in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation,
She's so good.
Mia Taylor in Tangerine.
Maya Taylor?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Never heard it said out loud, I guess, before now.
Actually, I haven't either, so I could be totally wrong.
MYA, so I always thought it was Maya.
I thought it was Maya, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay. Mia Taylor.
Maya Taylor, write in to the podcast address.
Yeah,
Let
please
us
do.
know.
We'd love to have you on as a guest. You're a great actress. Rachel Weisz in Youth.
Nice.
And ready for the griffiest pick?
God.
I think in any category we're going to get
Yes.
this year. Raffi Cassidy in Tomorrowland.
Wait,
That-
which
that's
one was
the
she?
robot girl,
The
right?
robot girl.
Yeah, she
I
was good.
just saw that movie over the weekend.
Yeah.
Did not care for it. But she was pretty good.
That robot girl, though.
The robot girl.
Was she anything else ever? Like, was this her first big movie?
Yeah, she did some small British films.
Okay.
But I
All
think
right.
she's
I
one
liked
to
her.
watch.
Oh, I agree. I
Yeah.
liked her in that film.
Okay, so let's get into our
So we did not overlap at all.
No, we had two
You guys
out
had
of three.
Banks.
The two friends with 10 picks, all distinct
Yeah.
from each
You
other.
guys just shared Banks.
We
Yes.
just shared Banks. You two
and
shared
we
Kristen
shared
Stewart.
Kristen Stewart,
Right.
who is my winner.
Really? Yeah. See, this is interesting. Okay, I don't know. Like I'm not trying to really
Supporting is always very wide open.
It's very
Oh,
tough. I have always been a huge Kristen Stewart fan.
Okay.
I used to
Yeah,
have.
you told me a gross story about
Oh,
about
no.
her Into the Wilds performance last weekend, and it was bad.
I said
And I had
I
to
wanted to
leave
do
for
a
a little
reverse
bit.
Purple Rose of Cairo in that movie, and I won't go into any further detail.
What kind of sexual position is the reverse Purple Rose of Cairo?
I think
First
you
of
know.
all.
I think you know. I think you know.
Okay.
And we got young listeners, so
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it.
We do?
I used to. Yeah, we got some babies who listen.
Get that demographic research out.
Yeah, they play it in maternity wards. Right when the babies come out, they're playing an episode of Blank
I
Check.
hate you with this every time you're going off topic.
The Kristen Stewart, I'm
Yes.
a big fan of.
Yes.
I used to have two life-size cardboard cutouts of her in my bedroom.
Oh my. Wow.
I had my early 20s were messy.
Sure.
But I always have argued that she's an underrated actress. I think she's phenomenal. I think it's the curse of a thing like Twilight being that big. I think people immediately discount anyone who's in something that's successful,
It's true.
whether or not they're doing good work. And I also think that character is a cipher, and she did some okay work in those films that is kind of drowning against the films themselves. Anyway, I was very excited for Clouds of Sils Maria because I was like, finally, a film where everyone seems to be getting on the same page as me on Kristen Stewart.
Uh-huh.
Saw it. I thought she was good.
I didn't love the movie. I thought she and Binoche were highlights.
No, it's David's
acting-wise.
favorite movie of the year.
I love the
It
movie,
is. It's
and
your
I
number
thought
one.
she was bewitching in it. Incredible.
This is my point, I guess. I have nothing bad to say about that performance. I think she's very, very good in it. I think she's excellent. I also think it's about as excellent as she usually is.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Just maybe in the context of a better movie.
Better material.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like she was really good in Still Alice last year. I probably would have nominated
Okay.
her last year, too.
I think she was great in that.
She's great in Still Alice, but I think Clouds of Sils Maria is a part where she has a little more room to explore. Like in Still Alice, she is a character.
Mhm.
Like, and even if her parents don't totally get that she's like a real person immediately, like,
Yeah.
and they have to learn things about her, she's playing like, I don't know, she's not, like in Clouds of Sils Maria, her character like develops and pushes back against Juliette Binoche's character, and like there's a real dynamic between the two of them that's like very like
They're really good together.
the power
Yeah.
shifts between them like backwards and forwards, and Clouds of Sils Maria is just incredible.
Putting
movie.
in
You guys
stark
should all
relief,
see it.
Chloe Moretz in that movie.
Yeah,
who-
not a good performance.
not a good
We all agree on that, right?
I think it's one of the better performances she's ever given. That's a pretty backhanded compliment. I'm not a big Chloe Grace Moretz fan. I thought she was suited to that role as a kind of jerky young star. I'm saying a lot of mean things about Chloe right now. Clouds of Sils Maria, if you guys haven't seen it, it's an Olivia Assayas movie about
He's really good.
about like Well, it's about a lot of stuff. I don't know. How
It's
do
about
you?
life. It's about art. It's about aging.
It's
about
art.
identity.
It's
It's
about
about
growing
acting.
up, for
Yeah.
sure. It's about how the way we think about things changes as
Yeah.
we get older.
It's about two friends.
Perspective.
It's about the two friends.
It is about the two, not the two friends. It's about two friends.
Two friends.
We're the two friends.
Right.
And that's patent
Sorry.
pending. We have a utility patent on being friends.
I love her, but let's talk about some of the other.
Okay, so that would
quickly.
be your choice to win. Who would be your choice to win from your 5, Joe?
I got Winslet.
Wow, Winslet would be your winner.
I watched Steve Jobs again on the plane back
She's
from
so
LA
good.
the other day. She is so good. I liked Steve Jobs better than I think a lot of people liked Steve Jobs.
I'm high on Steve.
I really liked it. I thought it's one of Sorkin's better screenplays. I think he does some really interesting structural stuff with it. And I think a lot of the attention for that performance, for her performance, boiled down to her accent and it's a stronger accent in the second 2/3 of the movie than it is in the first.
She becomes more Polish as she gets older.
She does. It's very interesting and very strange. But I think Sorkin's dialogue is not always the easiest, and she adapts to it so well. And she's your sort of anchor in that movie as Jobs becomes so unlikable and sort of distant from everything. And then even when they're trying to like redeem him at the end, I think that's the most resistant I ever am to the movie, where I was just like, I get it. He's going to put songs in her pocket. But I think Winslet keeps everything sort of grounded in this very sort of like task-focused kind of way. I think she's great.
You do point out something interesting, which is that usually actors have to like totally bend to the Sorkin thing and fit into those rhythms. And she somehow manages to get her claws around Sorkin dialogue without making it sound Sorkin-y.
Right.
She made it sound very naturalistic while keeping up the rhythm and the same sort of sharpness and everything.
But I mean, I also think that the film's emotional or like moral heart center is always with her.
Yeah.
And it's always revolving around her in a weird, specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I think
And
she
I like
actually
her
could
arc
win
over
the
the movie.
actual Oscar.
I'm starting to
because
get the feeling she's going to win weirdly.
She might.
If she won, I'd be so happy.
I would be too. I think Alicia Vikander is a very exciting
she cries
talent.
great in Danish Girl, but Ex Machina is probably her better performance
Agreed.
this year.
Yep.
Danish Girl, she's a lead who does a lot of crying. She cries.
Yes.
They cry in one room. I think I was telling this to Griffin. That movie is like they cry in one room and then they find a new room. They cry in that room.
Right.
Then they go to another country.
Yes.
And there's more crying.
Well, I think
that movie's dumb.
the interesting thing about the Oscar supporting actress race is you've got Rooney Mara and Alicia Vikander and Kate Winslet. That's what everybody seems to agree are the 3 frontrunners.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 movies that probably could have gotten Best Picture nominations but didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you could
True.
get the sense that like the voters weren't as crazy about those movies as they could have been.
Right.
There wasn't
So-
the support. Yeah.
So it's not like you can tell from the Best Picture nominees who the winner's going to be in that category.
And same with Hateful Eight, I would say, was
then
presumed to
Jennifer
be
Jason
like
Leigh,
a 10.
right.
Rachel
Yeah.
McAdams is the only one from a movie that you think
She's
might
great.
have like momentum.
She's great, but she has zero chance of winning.
I think she's great in that movie. She would be like right outside my.
And it's a
list.
very
same here.
it's a very un-Oscar baity kind of performance, which
That's
I
what I
like
love about
when
it,
that
yes.
those get nominated.
I give them a lot of credit because it's very unshowy.
Yeah.
Her 2 best moments in the film are very small.
Yeah.
I'd say it's the scene where she goes to meet up with the guy at the diner.
Yep.
And
That
and
scene's great.
she like pushes him about needing to be
I think
specific
that was what
with
her
the sexual
clip was at the
details.
SAG Awards. was from
That's
that
her
scene.
clip to me because that's the scene where she is capturing like the weird dispassion of
Yep.
being a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to kind of like be sympathetic without just like kind of hugging someone and crying with them. Like you
Right.
have to ask them extremely uncomfortable questions
Right.
without just being a jerk.
It's a sociopathic form of empathy.
Yeah.
It's like weaponized empathy.
And like
Yeah.
you see Ruffalo's take on how that works, where
Yeah.
he is much more guarded and like almost autistic about it,
Yeah.
but like not mean or anything.
Yeah.
But that his scene with the survivor is also incredible.
Yes.
Where he's like, yeah, I think people want to hear about this.
She would be
Excellent
I
Ruffalo.
just leaned.
she'd be right out of my 5. Jada Pinkett and Magic
Jada-
Mike XXL is
Rose
also
Byrne
right
was
out of
one
my
of my
5.
runners-up,
Rose
I have to
Byrne's
say.
in my
Rose Byrne
10.
in Spy is like one of the funniest comic performances. The monologue, I think we've talked about the monologue about the Bulgarian clown.
It's the best single scene in a movie in 2015. It's so good.
And there's this line she delivers that I can't really do it, but I've
She
done
says
it
you're funny.
Well, that's great, but I mean, when they sit down, I think it's when they sit down at the to dinner, and she says, "We just have to talk about this hideous dress you're wearing. It's hysterical." And like, I can't deliver that line as well as she.
Only
delivers
Rose
it.
can. She's the only one who
Yeah.
can.
And
She
a tough role.
very tough.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you have to be a villain. You have to be really funny.
Yeah.
Weirdly sympathetic. By
Weirdly sympathetic.
the
Yeah.
end of the movie,
Totally.
even though you are monstrous at all times.
Oh, right.
Great.
We've
Great
covered
stuff.
a lot on this podcast. She's one of my favorite actresses. I think she's one of our favorite actresses.
Love Rose Byrne.
Great
Great Neighbors
Is that
last
her,
year.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, she was Dorme.
I would have put her. I would have given her a blank check Best Actress nomination for Neighbors last year had we been doing this last year.
We weren't doing this last
I
year.
know, and I probably would have nominated her for Bridesmaids within that respective year.
we
as
should-
well.
I actually, she was.
she's great in
I put her on my
Great,
top
yeah.
5 list that
Yeah.
year. Yep.
But we should probably move on. But if there's anything anyone else
I
wants
didn't
to
pick my
say,
winner. I
Oh,
want
you
to
haven't
quickly
picked
throw
your
my
winner.
winner. I would go, even though I can't pronounce her name. I would go with Maya Taylor. Mia
She's great.
Taylor.
she's a
wonderful.
quasi lead.
I
That's
think-
a tough
I think I would
role.
also
I
maybe
agree
put
with
her
you
in
that
lead.
she can be classified. as
I
supporting.
hate category fraud, but I don't know. My knee jerk watching that film was she's the supporting performance. She's the secondary character. I think she's on screen less.
She is definitely on screen less.
It comes down to when I was looking at those 5, like she had all my favorite moments
Yes.
individually of a performance this year. The scene where she sings
That
Toyland,
scene is brutal.
the ending of the film.
And then she makes the cut it off gesture.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
she has like 4 or 5 moments in that film, especially coming from a not to use this term because who is a professional actress or not, but like a non-professional actress in the sense she'd never done anything before.
Right. Right.
She has 4 or 5 moments that are so profound and so small and so specific.
She's great.
Incredible.
But yeah, I mean, do you want us to be like? I think Joan Allen. It's like just let's all do brief things on
Yeah,
the people.
for
we know.
other people,
Like,
yeah.
I think It's crazy that Joan Allen never got any traction in the Oscar race this year, let alone any race.
Joan Allen's an actress who, for somebody with 3 Oscar nominations, 3, 2, just
The Contender.
no 3 because the Contender, Nixon,
Contender,
and
Nixon, and The Crucible.
Right. Yeah.
She should have been nominated for Pleasant.
For someone with, and
Yeah,
she
she
should have been
should have won
nominated
the
for
Upside of
Pleasant.
Anger.
The Upside of
She
Anger. That's
should
the thing.
have won for Pleasantville.
She's had slam dunk great Oscar-y performances and things that have
True.
gotten no attention, and
Yeah.
it's just very strange.
She is one of the weird, but like that's why I thought here she carries the emotions of that movie's
Yeah.
latter half.
Yes. Oh, totally.
And the scene with the cutting of the whatever. I love Joan Allen.
Yes.
I thought Waterston was the standout of Queen of Earth.
Didn't see it. I
Queen
can't
of
weigh
Earth's
in.
really good.
It's
weird,
really
little
good. It's
disturbing-
really unsettling.
Yeah.
I think she and Elizabeth Moss are both very good.
both
in that
very
movie.
good.
Yeah.
And then Jada. Jada's incredible.
Jada's a lot of fun.
That's another
I didn't
hard
quite
role.
understand a lot of what that character and what that sort of portion of the movie was supposed to be. But by the time you get to the end where they're in Orlando, where are they?
Tampa or Orlando, somewhere in Florida.
Something like that. The convention, whatever. The stripper convention.
Yep.
She's so great. May I call you Queens?
Oh
Like,
yeah. All her on stage stuff is unbelievable. She would
And
be my
I
number
just
6.
think hard, like harder than it looks to do that.
100%.
You know, to sell those kinds of lines
Yes.
with authority,
Yeah.
like an
Yeah.
authenticity. Hard.
Yeah, one of the trickier acting asks of the year
Yeah.
was that role as written.
I would
So
say.
anyone you wanted to mention, Griffin?
I mean, Elizabeth Banks, I guess we should both speak
guys
on her.
both
Oh yeah,
had
we
it.
both had her
But
on our
I
list.
just think so astoundingly solid. I mean, playing like a rock, you know?
Yep.
A character that at first blush looks like a very familiar trope of these sorts of biopics, which
Yeah.
is the loving woman who
Yeah.
stands by the troubled genius. But there are a lot of layers to the character as written, as unfolds. I think this character is written much more thoroughly than most of these parts
Yeah.
in these types of films. And she just brings such an integrity and a real, like, emotional truth.
The thing that I loved was she has to be such a different person with John Cusack than she has to be with Paul Giamatti,
Yep.
and she's so good at doing both of those things and still making it make sense. It's the same woman. I
Yes.
thought it was really good.
Yeah, what I like about the performance is they sort of set up this thing of her backstory being like a former like beauty queen
Yeah.
who now works at a car dealership,
Yes.
and she has this like ferocity that comes out in defending him that clearly feels like an extension of people underrating her entire life
Yeah.
or objectifying her, whatever it is.
Right.
She's very protective of making sure that people are seen as people.
Yeah.
A great performance from a great actress who's been doing great work for years.
100%.
And this is probably the best showcase I think she's gotten as a dramatic actress ever.
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I mean,
Oh,
just
she's
kind of
so
like
good.
such a Star is Born performance.
Very, very much.
So
Star is Born.
astounding, and
Yeah.
is like a full movie star performance, has the glamour and the sort of aura of that. Really nails the dramatic scenes, of which she has a surprising amount. And that was just on a fucking physical level. Like, I don't know. She has like 4 different like things where she fucking scissor flips a guy with her legs. Like, it's just good shit. Good
Yeah,
shit.
because
from
But
Rebecca
like
Ferguson.
Purple Rose of
steely,
Cairo.
someone who you think is a killer, someone who you think is like a good guy,
Yeah.
all at the same time. Like her eyes, it's all like her eyes are crazy in that movie.
Well, here's my argument for why I think like a slam dunk nomination for me is she essentially has to play the female Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Rogue Nation is entirely, it's a deconstruction of Tom Cruise's movie star persona and what's exciting and terrifying about him at the same time. I think that's the meta narrative of that movie.
Okay.
And she has to come on and be the female analog to him without any history. It's like Tom Cruise, we go into that movie with 30 years of baggage
Right.
that the film was able to weaponize and use in an intelligent way. And Rebecca Ferguson has to present herself. Most of us have never seen her in anything before and immediately seem like, yeah, she's at the same level as Tom Cruise. Yeah. She pulls it off.
There's that line where Alec Baldwin says that he is the literal manifestation of destiny.
Probably my favorite line in any film.
So great. Anyway, do you want to speak up for any of your guys? Oh, no, you're not done.
Raffi Cassidy in Tomorrowland, I just think
What a crazy pick.
it's a crazy pick.
It is the Griffinist pick.
It's the Griffinist pick. I'm going to top myself.
Oh,
there.
God.
I don't know
wait.
if I can peak. But the Raffi Cassidy, I mean, yeah, she's a little girl playing a robot who's been around for 100 years.
Yeah, it's a
you
tough-
believe that she's actually like,
Yeah.
wise beyond her years and everything. And she just, it's another performance that feels like this is a star. This girl's probably
I'm
gonna be
eager to
acting
see what she does in other things that I don't dislike as much as I disliked Tomorrowland.
I am a Tomorrowland apologist.
All right.
And Rachel Weisz in
too.
Use, I just think...
I think she was so good in that movie and so unheralded, and it was sort of bugging me that people jumped to the Jane Fonda thing, which is like a cool cameo, I guess. It's sort of this like intentionally disgusting sort of like you're sort of supposed to be taken aback by this woman and what acting has done to her. Rachel Weisz, I think she gets a monologue in that movie that's every bit as effective, if not, more
I agree.
so than the Jane Fonda thing.
It's like a translucent performance. She is just so raw and vulnerable and, unshowy.
Yeah.
But really, really strong.
Yeah.
Ben, any thoughts?
Oh, no, I haven't seen predominantly most of the movies you've discussed.
A while ago, Ben wrote down the word sexy on his notepad and underlined it. That's what I have to say.
Wait for it, though,
Oh,
guys.
okay,
We'll get
okay.
to it later. Let's
Okay.
get through the real categories.
All right.
Best supporting actor.
Oh, best supporting actor. Okay. You
Best-
want to go first?
Supporting actor.
Mine lines up more with Oscar than the other. Well, no, go ahead. Go.
Sure. I have 1 out of 5 with the Oscars.
I have 2. That's more.
Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies.
Nice.
Sure.
I think no one can argue against that being a very good performance.
It's a very good
I
performance.
haven't heard anyone other than Jeff Wells. Fuck Jeff Wells. Stanley Tucci for Spotlight.
It's my favorite in Spotlight. No, wait. Liev Schreiber's my favorite in Spotlight, but he's my second favorite in Spotlight.
Stanley?
Yeah, Ben looks confused. Stanley Tucci. What do you think?
I thought it was Steven.
No, it's not Steven Tucci. It's Stanley Tucci.
Oh.
What are you talking about, Ben?
I was just...
Elizabeth Tucci.
Yeah, no, he's
Just
one of our
'cause-
finest
Just because
actors.
we've been calling him the Tooch
Well,
for so
hey,
long,
listen,
I don't really know.
I love a little touch of the Tooch. I'm gonna tell you right
then
now, all right?
you won me back. As long as you're down with a touch
I
of
thought
the
it was
Tooch.
Steven, though.
Wait,
No,
we're
it's
sidetracked.
Okay.
Rylance and Tucci.
Mark Rylance, Bridge of Spies, The Tooch, Spotlight. Emery Cohen for Brooklyn.
Oh, we have some things to talk about with that.
Here's one that I did not throughout the entire season see anyone put him on any list.
Who's that?
No. Not Emery Cohen. The next one I'm about to
okay.
read.
Who we got?
I didn't see anyone going like, this is who I wish, this is whatever. Tom Noonan for Anomalisa.
If we're talking about Jennifer Jason Leigh in Anomalisa, we should probably be talking about Tom Noonan in Anomalisa. He's very good.
Most supporting actor, one could argue.
Certainly.
And then my last, and here's my real Griffin pick in this category.
Wait, if Tom Noonan wasn't the real Griffin pick,
Oh, get ready.
can't wait.
Michael Shannon for The Night Before.
Yeah, well, you've talked to me about how much you love that performance.
A lot.
Didn't
Joe,
see it. Didn't see
Joe,
it.
would you like to read your 5?
Sure. My 5 are Kyle Chandler for Carol, Benicio del Toro for Sicario, Nicholas Hoult for Mad Max Fury Road.
Great
Oh,
pick.
cool
Great pick.
pick,
Always
Joe.
was- yeah,
Joe,
yeah.
cool pick.
Thank you, guys. Oscar Isaac for Ex Machina, and Sylvester Stallone for Creed.
Great picks. My nominees, I've got 3 in common with you guys, so I'll just name them first. Oscar Isaac for Ex Machina for sure.
Cool.
Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies for sure. Sylvester Stallone for Creed for double sure. And then I have Michael Keaton for Spotlight.
Oh.
Although he's a quasi-lead, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
They
yeah.
campaigned him, and, I
Yeah.
can deal with that.
He's a cusper.
And Adam Driver in While We're Young.
He was one of my runners-up. I don't like that movie. I really like him in it.
Really good.
I like that movie. I love him in it.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
And that factors into this thing. Also was great in Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
He's on a sort of run right now. Sometimes you want to nominate someone like for a specific performance, but also kind of represents a year of.
I might
accomplishment.
ask you to stay tuned for that. Is all I will say.
Interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, Spotlight I find fascinating because everyone I talk to has a different Spotlight pick.
Yes. That's what I love about Spotlight too, is that
Yeah.
everybody has a different best in show.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
Tucci is marvelous in the movie.
Yeah.
Lee Schreiber is so good in Spotlight. Having the second time I remember when I watched it, I was like, this might be my favorite. You know,
Yeah.
it switches, and Ruffalo's great.
Yeah.
And his nomination is great.
And
I love
he's
it all.
the Oscar-y pick, so like they picked exactly right. I feel like
Yeah.
there's got to be some sort of like Rorschach element to that, of just sort of like, what about your favorite Spotlight actor? What does it say about you?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the reason why Tucci jumps out to me, aside from always loving a touch of the Tucci,
Well, Tucci's always great.
always great.
The only movie Stanley Tucci's bad in is the one he was Oscar nominated.
That's
Yep,
100%
agreed.
true.
That's so weird.
Do you
right?
remember when they played the clip for The Lovely Bones at the Oscars and he literally like grimaced?
Yeah.
I do, and it's there's a few times where you'll see that in Oscar ceremonies. I think Kate Blanchett did it for Elizabeth the Golden Age.
Oh yeah,
Remember
yeah,
where she's just like, ugh, it was great.
Yeah. That was a stupid
It
nomination.
was a stupid nomination.
Really dumb. Tucci looks like one of the white chicks in The Lovely Bones
He does.
because they put those weird
It's
blue
'cause of
contact
the contacts.
lenses.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
always
yeah.
comes
I mean,
off
Jessica
weird.
Alba looks like a white chick in Fantastic Four. Like, if you put in
Yes.
weird like contacts in someone's eyes, it can really
People
mess
with dark
things.
eyes should not have
Yeah.
blue contact lenses. Never, ever works. The reason why I love Stanley Tucci in Spotlight, and I think it's kind of like the Tucci performance, is that I think it uses the audience's relationship with Tucci in a really, really smart way.
Yeah.
In that we're used to, like, Tucci comes in, he's a supporting actor, he's a grump.
Right.
He's going to throw out a lot of real zingers. He's going to be really sharp, and he kind of hates everyone around him.
Sure.
For reasons that are unexplained.
Right.
Right. This guy's just got a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
And I think Spotlight is sort of like unfolds that, like, oh, this guy's talking like a Stanley Tucci character because he's learned to not trust anyone in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And that's slowly, at first everyone's just like, oh, he's a bit of a character, you
Right.
know, like
He's
when
doing
he's
it too.
being spoken of.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, no, this guy, like, has to keep all his cards close to his chest.
Yes.
He can't trust anybody.
That's a
Yeah.
movie that does a really good job at a casting level where,
God.
like, how many times have you seen Stanley Tucci play the smartest character in a movie? So many times. And, like, that plays into that character so well. Keaton,
But goes beyond it.
right.
Yeah.
And Keaton is sort of like the everyman who's going to, like, really, like stress himself out to, like, the
Yeah.
brink to really get this thing right. And Slattery's going to be the guy who's a little too comfortable in his position.
He's
great, too.
Like,
Yeah, everyone's great.
Yeah.
It's the best top to bottom
Crude
cast
Up's
all
a little
year.
too slick. You can't really trust him. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so well cast.
Crude Up.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
All great performance.
And all the people who play the survivors are great.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, all the
Michael
people,
Cyril Crichton,
Yeah.
who plays the one that Rich McAdams meets up with. I mean, every two-line performance in the film is perfect.
fucking Richard Jenkins on the phone is
Oh,
great.
God.
Yeah.
You know, the people who play like the various higher ups at the, you know, Len Cariou is great.
He
Yes.
is.
Uh,
Wasn't part of the SAG ensemble as laid out
You
by.
gotta,
It's
have your
so
duel.
annoying.
You gotta have
Yeah.
your single title card, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that- it's the weird SAG rule.
It is.
Let me see the rest of my nominees here. Mike Rylance, Bridge of Spies. I mean, just a great performance from a great actor.
That's my winner. I think that's maybe the
You just want him
performance
to
of the year.
read some poetry from that podium like he does at all the Tony
love it when he
ceremonies.
wins
That'd be so
an
cool.
award for sure. But I mean, go on. Carry on.
Tom Noonan and Anomalisa. The central sort
Yeah.
of like gimmick
He's
of that
great.
film is
He's
that the lead character, everyone looks and sounds exactly the same to him until he meets
All my
Lisa.
favorite parts of Anomalisa are because of Tom Noonan.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, he's got this really like impossible needle to thread,
Yeah.
which is like play 100 different characters
Yeah.
who all sound exactly the same, but through performance all come off as different people.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that they're all blending together for him, so he can't modify his voice at all.
Yeah.
But they all have to have their own agency, their own
Yeah.
personality, their own different speaking rhythms, you know?
He is also the movie's best tie-in to Synecdoche, New York, because he
Agreed.
plays the kind of because in Synecdoche, New York, he's also that kind of like quietly sort of he's threatening Philip Seymour Hoffman just
Yeah.
by his mere presence there,
He's creepy despite seeming really kind and
and
non-threatening.
kind of boring.
Yes, and really boring.
I just saw his X-Files episode very recently. I
Oh,
was
that's a
doing
great episode.
It's maybe my favorite X-Files episode after now watching it again. He's so creepy, and it reminded me that for a while he would only play killers and sort of after
Yeah, he
Manhunter.
played a lot after Manhunter.
yeah.
He's so good in Synecdoche, New York. He would be a nominee.
I would have
for me
nominated
year.
for that too. Do you guys want to spotlight some?
Yeah, I think. Well, let's talk about
Spotlight?
Nicholas Holt because you
You
guys
want-
seem to
Oh,
really like Nicholas
He
Holt.
So
would be
cool
right
pick.
behind my list.
Yeah.
I love that
He's-
character, and I do not like Nicholas Holt. Until Mad Max, I had never been a fan of his.
It's
Yeah.
his best performance.
I
no
had
question.
because I liked him in Skins so much.
Yeah, I hate him in Skin.
Well, you hate the character in Skins because he's such a hateable character.
It's very true.
No, I think he's he's asked to play such a big character, and asking somebody I think that young and maybe that not super experienced to play a character that big is sometimes a recipe for disaster.
Agreed.
But like he nails it. All that, what a lovely day, like Witness Me, all that stuff fits so perfectly on him because he plays it with that air of vulnerability that he's sort of the littlest war boy almost, where he's just like got the blood bag hooked up and he's on his way out, but he's going to really try for it.
I think his big scene is the one with Riley Coe where he shows her the
That's a good
his
scene.
tumors.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
shows her
tumors,
his friends or
Yeah.
what his brothers. I forget what they're called.
He's something. He
Yeah.
definitely calls him
With
something.
he's drawing the faces on.
When you said how dangerous it could be for a young actor to be asked to give that big of a character performance, see Dane DeHaan in The Amazing Spider-Man
Who
2.
I love, but yeah.
Yeah, I love him too. That performance is like
It's tough.
bad on everyone.
Yeah.
Not his fault. It's everyone's fault. It's America's fault for letting
we
that
all
happen.
we all took a hit for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I left off Sylvester Stallone in Creed,
Yeah.
and he was like my 6. I mean, it just
He's
missed
so
the cusp for him. He's great in it.
He's really, and I was very resistant to not only Creed,
the
but
myth making around that.
but Stallone too, where I was just like, okay, let's all calm down. I know he was everybody's favorite when they were 5 or whatever, but like, and then I saw the movie and it's just like, nope, he really does it. He really pulls it together. He uses his own history really well. He uses the character's history.
Yeah.
He uses his weird way of speaking.
yeah, I was going
to
say
his advantage.
He uses his limited sort of
toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. To an advantage that he doesn't usually have. I mean, I think he's very well directed.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think
Unquestionably.
Coogler helps to rein him in at all times, which is like exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
Because it's funnier when he's delivering all these lines. We go, catch chicken. Oh,
Right.
chicken's faster than they used to. Like when he's just kind of like mumbling to himself and puttering around, and like he feels so real. Like talk about the most cartoonish character in what like
yeah, he
right?
fought robots.
There's
and
been
stuff, yeah.
6 Rockies. Yeah, exactly. He had a robot servant,
Right.
and yet he feels like a real guy who just kind of like walks in like from the basement. He's like
Fought
oh,
Roaring Twenties gangsters and Oscar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all the same character. Oscar's part of the Rocky verse.
Yes.
The moment for me in that performance is the scene where he gets the diagnosis. And the power to that is that he like
He's just like
he does
Yeah.
he goes out of his way to not make it an Oscar scene.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't hit any of the notes
So
that would
why didn't you
showcase it.
nominate him yet?
Well, so
you just
Joe,
want to be like, eat Cam Newton, man.
well, yeah, I mean, I did have enough weirdo Griffin picks that it was hard for me to like. I didn't want to lose any of my guys, but I
understand.
also, Joe, as you said that like he was everyone's favorite actor when they were 5. I have specifically disliked Sylvester Stallone my
Really?
entire life.
That's
I love the original Rocky.
Uh-huh.
There are performances I like, but there's something about him that always kind of rubs me the wrong way, and so he totally disarmed me with this performance. But I think there is just a little bit of baggage. I'm not holding against him, but when it came down to him or like Noonan, who I felt like was not being, heralded by anyone else, he
Well, I
just
also-
made the
there's-
yeah.
Yeah, there's a tendency to like, well, the Oscar's nominated. He's going to win an Oscar. What does he need my help for?
Exactly. I did
On my little
feel
podcast.
like that selfishly, like I'm going to fit my guys in who need it. Other
I'll take
guys-
care of my guys. You take care of your guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. What else did I put down here? Did you say what your winner would be?
Holt would be my winner.
Holt
I
would
feel
be
like
your
great
Joe.
winner.
So cool.
love
That's what I want to do.
movie.
But Kyle Chandler would give a lot of chase. 'cause
Oh,
I
he's
feel
great
like
in Carol. We didn't talk. He's so good in that movie.
another one where it's just sort of that's a character you're not supposed to like. Like I was
Yeah.
very
Yeah, for
surprised
sure.
that I ended up being even a little bit sympathetic to Harge. First of all, his name is Harge.
His name
What
is
a great
Harge.
name.
Everyone's name in that fucking movie.
Oh my god.
He
Yeah.
deserves a
that
nomination for
story.
the name alone. Yeah.
But he really that scene with him and Paulson at the doorway of where the one where it's in the trailer and she's like, I can't help you with that. But like
Yes.
him leading up to that, it's just sort of like there are no true villains in this except for society. Let's all agree. Society's a
Agreed.
villain. Yeah.
Emery Cohen in Brooklyn. You dislike that performance?
It's funny. I was the one who really liked him in Place Beyond the Pines, and everybody was just like, "Ah." But I think there's a little bit of the parts of Brooklyn that I don't like are the parts where it seems like him and his Italian family and his little precocious little brother all seemed a little cartoony for me, and he never quite sold me on being this sort of like New York City dreamboat for her.
I did. I am not crazy about that movie. I have my
Brooklyn?
problems with it. Yeah, but I just think that's a real star performance. It's a little cartoony. It's a little large, but I just think he's so charming in it.
He's
I
very
don't want to give out
charming.
an Oscar just for charm, But, Domhnall Gleeson, an actor I usually adore.
Yeah.
I feel like that movie, and this is my main problem with it, I feel like that movie really grinds to a halt when it goes back to Ireland because
agree.
I don't think he provides the same sort of chemistry.
I agree.
I understand that the whole point is there's supposed to be a contrast between the two guys, but for me, it's not even a competition. So when she goes to Ireland, I go, well, just get back to Emery Cohen, obviously. But that performance really, Domhnall Gleeson's performance really... I almost knocked over my water bottle. Underlined for me how strong Emery Cohen was and how tricky it is to actually pull off something that looks that seamless if you're doing it correctly.
That's fair.
My winner would be Michael Shannon for The Night Before.
Which I haven't seen, so I can't speak to Michael Shannon.
Also haven't seen.
It's my favorite performance of the year. It also falls into the category.
What kind of a character does he play?
Well, so he's totally hidden from the marketing.
Yes.
He plays a drug dealer that at the beginning of the film they go to pick up weed from, and they keep on losing their weed. So they come across him like 4 or 5 times in the movie.
He's premium rushing them?
Well, he essentially, and he should have been nominated for that. And he should have been nominated at 99 Homes, which is great this year. So I'm sort of combining the two performances.
I generally don't like him, although I would have nominated him for The Runaways, which nobody saw.
I also would have nominated him for
so
that.
great
I would nominate him almost every year for whatever he was in.
Yeah, he's good.
But they totally hit this for the marketing. But the main sort of plot gimmick of The Night Before is that Michael Shannon functions as a Christmas story.
Yeah.
Where every time he sees them, he gives them weed that goes into Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. But he just takes that insane Michael Shannon energy that sometimes can be overboard if it's not in the right film, or sometimes it's something like Premium Rush can be so much fun because he's not holding anything back, and dials it way down.
Interesting.
Totally bottles it. He's totally sedated but terrifying, just because you can't figure out what the fuck is up with this guy. And I won't spoil it, but he's got a monologue at the end of the film that's my favorite piece.
You're selling me on seeing this movie, Griffin. I'll say that.
It's great. It's a great performance.
The movie shows up on HBO.
Yeah, the movie is aggressively okay, but he's phenomenal in it.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite performance of the year, period, because I am a maniac. Ben, any thoughts?
I thought Stallone was cool.
Stallone was cool.
Adam Driver's really good in While We're Young.
Agreed, 100%.
Oh, yeah. Hate that movie. Love Adam Driver.
Another one where he should just be an easy villain, but by the end of the movie, you're like, even though this guy has kind of been the problem, he's generated all of the tension in this movie, or a lot of the tension in this movie. I get where he's
got such a great energy as an actor.
And he does. It's like he's playing someone who's inauthentic, and then you realize, no, this person isn't inauthentic. He's just a different kind of authentic. He doesn't get that what he's doing is inauthentic.
I'm not sure Noah Baumbach agrees with you, but I think you're right.
I think Noah Baumbach agrees.
Okay.
Best actress.
Yes.
I think this is the category where we're going to have some overlap.
Possibly.
My nominees are Charlotte Rampling for 45 years, choosing to disregard recent comments she made to the press and just judge her based on her performance.
Yeah.
Rinko Kikuchi, Kamiko the Treasure Hunter, Nina Haas for Phoenix, Cate Blanchett for Carol, and Rooney Mara for Carol. Joe.
All right. I literally wrote down 6, so I'm making this on the fly.
Okay, wow.
The
squeaker.
It is a squeaker. Cate Blanchett for Carol.
Wow.
Blythe Danner for I'll See You in My Dreams.
Good one.
Brie Larson for Room, Rooney Mara for Carol, and Charlotte Rampling for 45 years. So we got some overlap. Yeah.
David.
I almost want to just drop Cate Blanchett, just for fun.
I almost did, actually.
She was in your
Just for
five?
fun.
Yeah, I've wavered on this. Anyway,
Okay.
Juliette Binoche for Cloud to Salisbury.
There you go.
Nina Haas for Phoenix.
Hey now.
Rooney Mara for Carol.
Hey now.
Charlotte Rampling for 45 years. And Kobe Smulders for Results.
Oh.
There's the Sims pick.
Such a good performance. No one's talking about it.
I forgot to
very
mention
good.
it, but Corrigan would be my 7, I think, for supporting actor.
Yeah.
For Results.
He's great in Results. I think Guy Pearce is fantastic
I do
in
too.
Results.
I think the whole cast is great.
That was one of the little movies I saw right at the beginning of 2015 that just never left me.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was like, you know what? That wasn't just a shitty little indie movie. That was one of the best movies I saw all year.
Agreed. My pick, who was just outside Best Actress for me and falls into a similar area, was Alison Brie for Sleeping with Other People.
She's great in that movie.
It's kind of a good movie.
I liked
kind
it
of
a
a good
lot.
movie, and
Yeah.
she's great in it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her make a better movie.
I would agree.
Leslie Headland. I think that's a good movie. But I'd like to see her.
It wasn't. I thought Bachelorette was a great movie. I thought this was a little bit of a step down, but like different enough that I was like, you're not just trying to copy yourself, and that's cool.
I keep feeling like she's holding back a little something.
You think so?
Leslie Headland.
Dunst would have made my top 5 actresses that year, by the way, for Bachelorette.
Great in that.
She's so good.
Okay, so let's go over these.
I almost had Nina Haas, by the way. She was the one I dropped at the last second because you mentioned her, so I was like, we'll get to talk about her.
She's so fucking.
She's so good.
But we all agreed on 2 out of the 5.
Right.
Then we overlapped on Blanchett. Well, yeah,
Blanchett.
all of us
We
were
all have
on the same
Rampling
page
and
as
Mara.
Mara and Rampling.
Right. Yes.
We
Blanchett?
agreed on Blanchett. David, you and I agreed on Nina Haas. Was
Right.
there another one? No, I think but there's a lot of coverage on this.
There's a
one.
lot of coverage.
And
right.
the thing is, there are also like 10 more great performances.
It was a
out
really
there.
strong. What's her name for Tired of a Teenage Girl?
Belle Powley.
She was great.
so good.
Charlize Theron,
you
Mad
like
Max.
Kristen Wiig, by the way. You highlighted
Oh,
her.
Oh yeah.
I do agree that that's a good performance. That movie for some reason didn't click for me. But
that's interesting.
Wiig plays that role so much. The sort of cold supporting character in
Sure.
an indie film.
Yeah.
But that was not like that sort of phoned-in performance that I think she
No,
does all
she
the time.
really nailed it, I thought.
Yeah, that was like a scary, kind of sad, like
She walked right to the edge on
full
that one.
character, totally.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Belle Powley's really good.
Yep.
Emily Blunt Sicario would be right outside there for
Yep,
me too.
me too.
Blunt's good. I really loved Greta Gerwig and Lola Kirk in Mistress America.
Agreed 100%.
I loved Charlize Theron in Mad Max.
Agreed
I loved
100%.
Kiki Rodriguez in Tangerine.
Agreed.
It was
who
a
else?
very
I
strong
loved
year
Teyana
for
Paris and
actors.
Chirac.
Oh yes, and you know what? Chirac,
I love Daisy Ridley in Star Wars: The Force
Oh,
Awakens.
yeah.
cool.
Lily
movie.
Tomlin and Grandma. It was
Yep.
a very strong year.
Yeah, don't like
Yes,
Grandma.
Lily Tomlin.
Love her in that movie.
I think she's very good.
I think it's a phenomenal performance.
I kind of liked Meryl Streep in Ricky and the Flash.
I did
I
too.
still haven't seen it.
It's not a great movie, but it's pretty good.
I like that movie.
So can I stick up for Blythe Danner a second here?
Yeah,
'Cause
please.
That's my outlier. Did you guys see that movie?
I did not.
I did. It's a great movie.
I liked it a lot.
Yes.
And I think she would have been my like Lily Tomlin Golden Globe nominee
Right.
for this year. I thought she was doing that kind of late in life. She's at sort of her wit's end. She just at the beginning of the movie, her dog dies, and she's sort of all alone. And she has these really interesting relationships with Sam Elliott and with Martin Starr. And it's such a one of those sort of sensitive, sort of well-observed little indie movies about, people you wouldn't normally see movies about because it's just, she's an older lady. It's great.
Can I spotlight, even though he didn't make my list, Sam Elliott had a stellar fucking
What a
year.
good year.
Sam Elliott had a great year. I think we've talked about it. I talked about it with Katie. I think we've talked on Twitter.
He kind of gets MVP
you've
for
got
the
that.
breadth of the word.
You've
Yeah.
got Grandma. You're a big fan of his voice performance in The Good Dinosaur.
I think the only good voice performance in that film. I
right.
think he's excellent in that. Yeah.
He's fine.
I think he's excellent in
I
that.
think he's given a fucking Toyota ad performance or what. I don't know what ad it is that he does.
I think it's
I mean,
great.
he's got a great voice.
He's
Yeah.
got a great voice.
I'm also just like, oh yeah, he should be a T-Rex. Like he gets bonus points just for
Showed
he's a
up-
T-Rex and the teeth
showed
overlap.
up to Videology and did a guest round one
Yeah.
time when none of us were there. Yeah.
What was the best vocal performance of the year? You're not allowed to say Phyllis Smith in Inside Out. Because
Why?
that's
Why
the-
not?
Because that's the obvious answer.
That's the
I just
obvious
want to see
answer?
if you
Tom
have
Noonan and Anomaly.
Yeah, you already had that one.
Or what are some vocal performances everyone like?
Well, the entire Inside Out cast is great. I think
Totally.
Polar's amazing.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. Inside Out.
Obviously, Kevin James.
I have
in Hotel
one that I feel like
Transylvania
no
too.
one's
I
gonna
feel like
say.
I feel like you want to say something.
Ben Whishaw and Paddington.
Oh yeah,
so
he
good.
was- I
yes. I wasn't
thought that-
thinking of it because
that's
it's
a really good-
live action movie, but
that's a
agreed
really good-
100%.
Yep, that's good.
Um,
Better than anything I could come up with.
Yes, that's a great choice, David.
You know who was very disappointing as a vocal performance? Sandra Bullock in Minions.
Didn't see it.
Did not see Minions yet.
I love her. She cannot. That's not a voice character she can pull off.
Bob crushed it though. You have to admit, Bob was so good. Minions.
Of course.
So
So much better than those other two Jokers.
Another good vocal performance. James Spader in Age of Ultron.
Oh,
yes. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Ben Schwartz and who
and,
else?
Bill Hader.
And Bill Hader.
BB-8.
BB-8. Yeah.
That's right.
Can I spotlight another thing that didn't make it in any category for me, almost because it is such a true ensemble.
Yeah.
There's so many good performances, it was hard for me to pick any one of them to spotlight in any of their respective categories. The entire cast of Chirac is fucking unbelievable.
It is.
Absolutely.
Bassett,
Angela Bassett.
Tiona Paris, Nick Cannon's weirdly incredible in
Yeah,
that
he's
film.
great.
Sammy Jackson.
Yeah, all of them were like
Jackson.
right outside
Wesley
the five
Snipes
for
is
me.
really funny.
Really
like
funny.
the sort of over the top stupid male performances like Wesley Snipes and what's his name, Harris.
Steve Harris from The Practice.
Steve
Yeah.
Harris like are really, really funny.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and in like an obvious but a good way.
Cusack's right on the edge of working for me.
I think he
almost
does.
works. Yeah.
I think he
Cusack works.
improbably works in that movie. He shouldn't.
Yeah.
He really shouldn't, but he
Yeah,
does.
DB Sweeney's eating a big ham sandwich,
He's
but
eating the
everyone
big ham
else, I
sandwich.
think,
Jennifer Hudson can't quite keep up, but I think everybody else is doing it.
a really, really good bunch of performances in that movie. Okay, so let's go through the rest of these Best Actress picks.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, we all just acknowledge, Rooney Mara's the fucking lead of that movie.
Oh, of Carol?
She's 100%.
Arguably
She's-
over
she-
Kate Blanchett.
I think
It's
she's
her
my
most-
winner.
yes.
I think she's my winner.
She's my
this year.
winner.
Yeah.
She's my winner.
It's-
And I'm not
God.
normally a giant Rooney Mara fan.
Yeah,
I am a giant Rooney
I
Mara
am too.
fan.
I am
Well,
7'2",
you guys
and I love
nominated her
Rooney
like
Mara.
I've-
You love that Soderbergh movie she made.
Side Effects.
Great
Yeah.
film.
She's a 4-time nominee for me.
Yeah, I would have nominated her for Side Effects as well.
Dragon
Four-time.
Tattoo, Side Effects, this, and what?
You gotta guess.
Okay.
It's a supporting actress nomination.
Social Network?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
just on the edge of cameo,
She's
but
fucking
yeah,
great
yeah.
in that movie.
I mean, I'd nominate her for Pan. That joke doesn't even work. That joke doesn't even work because I've already done that category.
And also,
Dumb.
have you seen Pan?
No, I saw the trailer. She looked good in it.
She's not great in Pan.
Really?
No,
Not
I
super
love Rooney
surprising.
Mara, but that
Yeah.
is no good.
I love Rooney Mara because I love scared birds. She looks like a bird that's terrified that her eggs are going to be stolen at any moment.
I saw her at a Q&A for Side Effects where it was her and Soderbergh and Jude Law and the screenwriter.
Mhm.
And every time she was asked a question, she would like curl up in her seat
Love
and
it.
turn over to like either Jude Law or Soderbergh and be like, and sort of like whisper to them. And they'd be like, so what Rooney's trying to say? And it was just like,
Love it.
good Lord.
She's an odd one.
She is.
She's an odd one.
It's a great performance. It's a perfect use of her. My winner, it's almost like a coin toss between her and Nina Haas.
Yeah.
Haas is amazing.
Phoenix
if
is a
people haven't seen
phenomenal
Phoenix,
movie. Yeah.
I believe it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
It's
That's what I
easy
thought.
to
I
watch.
saw it
It's
on
a
Netflix.
90-minute, tense, psychological, kind of thriller,
Kind of
Yeah.
noir-y.
kind of noir movie.
Hitchcockian.
If someone tells you it's a Holocaust movie, like don't go in thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be like really just
The
bummed
Holocaust
out.
is over by the time the movie starts, you guys.
Guys, it's over.
I'll say this as a disclaimer too. My 17-year-old sister was sick recently, asked for a movie recommendation to watch. I said you should watch Phoenix because she likes sort of Hitchcocky stuff like that. And she's sick, so her attention is a little shot, whatever.
Yeah.
Like 40 minutes, and she was like, "This is really slow." And I was like, "Give it 10 more minutes."
Yep.
The movie takes a long time to set up. It's
It does,
intriguing,
it
but if
does.
you're not really on board with it, you
Sure.
might be going like, "Is this going to meander?"
Yeah.
Once it clicks into place, the second half of the film is just like
you're
a fucking
you're
freight
just
train.
gripping your hands into your legs.
Yes.
You know, it's like
And I
what-
almost don't want to talk about a performance
No.
too much because I want people who are listening to this right now
It's a
to
good
watch
discovery
it going in.
performance.
one of those things. Last scene.
But it's it's
we can't
yeah.
talk about it.
The
but
last
the
scene's incredible, but it's also a performance where she is, without spoiling anything, having to sort of play people playing people.
Yeah.
So it's like a performance about performances.
Yep.
And it's just fascinating.
I want to see her in a Michael Haneke movie tomorrow.
Yes.
Like, I want it to happen immediately.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
All right. So we've done actress. I
Yeah.
love Binoche in Clouds of Sils Maria. I imagine you guys like Binoche. Binoche is great.
Binoche
Yeah.
is great.
When's Binoche bad?
Pretty much never.
Pretty much never.
Never. I guess I go.
It's funny to think back on how much I resented that Chocolat nomination now that I
Yeah.
absolutely love her. But
She
man,
shouldn't have been nominated, but she's pretty good at Chocolat.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like
that whole thing is a mystery. How that? I mean, it's not a mystery. We all know how, but like,
She should have
Yeah.
been nominated for Godzilla instead.
and I was, and
She's
then I
great
was
in
like
Godzilla.
riding hard for Zellweger that year for Nurse Betty. It's such an odd thing to think of now in 2016. Like
she's good in
she's
this.
great.
Without opening up a big can of worms, I do think we have to talk about Rampling for just a second and not talk about the controversy.
Fräulein Rampling, yes.
Yes. Well, Fräulein Rampling. I think it it now has become difficult to stand up for that performance because she just stuck her foot so hard in her
Oh,
mouth.
whatever.
It's the performance is the performance though.
Yeah,
so
I-
it's
I
like-
agree, and I also think in a way that performance is like a masterclass in what screen acting is.
Yeah.
Because it's all like reactions, it's all watching her think.
Watching
you know?
her in a scene where she's not talking is
Unbelievable.
the best
Yeah.
screen watching in a movie this year.
Yes,
It's so
agreed, 100%. I'd maybe pick Nina Haas as my one. I don't. God, I wish we all agreed on something. Rooney Mara's right there. I don't know. I could go either way.
Rampling's amazing in 45 years. She lives in France. They say a lot of weird.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say like people
I-
like
yeah.
also they're all like it's that Streep thing the other day where she's like we're all African in the end. It's like That's just a dumb thing that actors say.
People just shouldn't be talking about this. In
They always
interviews.
talk about how the human experience is
Yeah.
one and whatever like that. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, as someone who wrote the famous term paper back in blackface,
Heard of it.
my lesson I've learned is if you're a white, maybe you can just
Maybe
have an
just
opinion and
don't.
not have to talk about it in interviews, other than
I mean-
saying, yeah, we should be more diverse.
Maybe
And
take a
end it there.
long
we
sip
don't
of
want to
your
read.
coffee.
We don't want to read into people's psychological. We don't know
Sure.
states too much, but like
Sure.
you can definitely imagine like Charlotte Rampling, someone who's been kind of roundly outside Hollywood.
this is my
her entire
interpretation.
career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally, like gives this like it's a dynamic performance.
Finally gets a nomination.
in this fucking thrillingly depressing and scary
Right.
and quiet little movie,
Right.
and she gets her nomination right, and
And
it's
all anybody talks about.
yeah, and then
Like
it's
the-
like
like a minute after the nominations
like she
come
sits
out.
down in an interview and it's like, well, what do you think? I mean, but like I can't really defend her because she said like
No,
racist
it's
against
dumb.
white people.
It's a stupid, dumb
I
thing to
think
say.
I think she, like a 6-year-old, was like, "You're
Exactly.
taking this away from me. I want this Oscar."
Right.
Annoying
It's a
that she had to
reminder
say
of
that.
how incredibly sheltered a lot of actors really are.
Yeah, and also Francis Kooky.
Yep.
As we said. Okay, best actor.
Ooh.
Actor
Ben, any thoughts on actress?
I mean, no, I didn't
Okay,
see
best
any of these
actor,
movies.
best
I don't know.
actor.
Sorry.
Best
Don't be sorry.
actor. Paul Dano, Love and Mercy.
All right.
Andrew Garfield, 99 Homes. Tom Hanks, Bridge of Spies. Michael B. Jordan, Creed. Ian McKellen, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, that's interesting.
Joseph.
Now
All right.
this is a weird category.
Weird
we
year.
should say because like one of the weakest best actor categories in years.
Incredible.
The Oscar nominees were kind of. A
I matched
disaster.
one of the
Bummer.
Oscar nominees, and it's kind of amazing that I do because it's such a weak Oscar category this year.
I matched 0. I just realized.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
I have Adam Driver for Hungry Hearts. Did
Wow,
either of you see that movie?
I did not. I've
Good.
heard of it.
He's real good. He's real
Yeah.
good in it.
He won the Golden Lion or whatever.
At
Didn't he
Venice.
win at Venice? Yeah.
Yep. He did. Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield for 99 Homes.
Hey now.
Michael B. Jordan for Creed.
Hey now.
And Geza Rohrig for Son of Saul.
David.
Michael B. Jordan for Creed.
Hey, 3 out of 3.
Samuel L. Jackson for The Hateful Eight.
Cool.
Okay.
Josh Lucas for The Mend.
Right.
Peter Sarsgaard for Experimenter.
Wow.
And Jason Segel for The End of the Tour.
He was one of my runners-up.
Can't believe he didn't get more traction this year.
He should have.
I
He's
think it was
very good.
category confusion. Fucked him over.
I think it's true. Paul Dano,
Um,
too.
Yep. Now, David, I asked you a couple weeks ago what your 5 was, and Experimenter was not in there. Have you watched it that recently?
No, Experimenter comes in and out. Because I think, did I have Fassbender there?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Experimenter sort of comes in and out. I think Fassbender's wonderful in Steve Jobs, and he'd be a worthy winner for me almost. But I loved Experimenter. I saw it a while ago.
I should see that. I didn't see it.
It's the movie about Stanley Milgram. It's a biopic. It's a Michael Almaguer movie. I don't know
Yeah.
how you say his name.
This guy did Hamlet, right? The Ethan Hawke Hamlet? Yeah.
And a bunch of other things that I and no one else have ever seen. But it is all on Sarsgaard, that movie. Like, because he has to talk to the camera over and over again. He has to do all these weird things. It's like he's presenting a biopic as a university lecture. It shouldn't work. There's a scene where he's walking down. No, here. Well, the Milgram experiment involves like buzzing noises, because it's like
Right.
making
I
people
keep
get
getting that
electric
movie
shocks.
confused with Stanford Prison Experiment
Right.
for that very reason.
And there's one scene early on. The movie is so. You guys should really see.
gotta
it.
I do
watch
want
it.
to see
Yeah.
it.
There's one scene early on where he's meeting Winona Ryder, who plays his eventual wife, at a party
Love it.
after doing the first buzzer experiment, and someone buzzes into the apartment, like the intercom buzzes for a second, and Sarsgaard just like breaks and just goes like, huh, and like looks over his shoulder, and like that's the kind of movie this is.
Okay.
He like walks down the corridor delivering whole monologues to you about what's happening in his life, while an elephant walks behind him for no reason in a hallway, and like that's never explained.
Sarsgaard rules.
Like near the end of
good.
his near the end of his life, because the movie charts his whole life, he like walks up to a hospital desk and says like something, and the lady's kind of rude to him, and he just goes like, charming, or like right to the camera. It shouldn't work. Sarsgaard is like one of the most
Speaking of
transfixing
which,
actors.
Can we get a ruling on Sarsgaard and Black Mass?
I was going to say, he gave 2 of my favorite performances
so
in terrible
big in
movies
Black
this year.
Mass.
I think it works. I think it's the only performance that works in that movie, really.
I think he's great in Pawn Sacrifice.
I was going to say the
just
same
about
thing.
to bring up Pawn
2
Sacrifice.
movies I don't like.
saw
I
that
thought
together.
he killed it in both of them.
Yeah.
You know
You know who's not
tough,
making my best actor list is Tobey Maguire for Pawn
No.
Sacrifice.
tough to be bad, tough to be great in a bad film though. And Peter
Yeah.
Sarsgaard pulled it off twice this year.
Yeah.
I need to watch Experimenter.
I never saw Black Mass. I didn't want to do that. to
Really?
myself.
Good for you.
Well, watch
Good for
those
you,
5 minutes
David.
that Peter Sarsgaard's in. I'd say it's the only part worth watching.
Anyway, but I think Fassbender's amazing in Steve Jobs,
I think
and
so,
I
too.
should just watch Steve Jobs again. I've only seen it twice.
He's so comfortable with all of Jobs' bad parts, and yet, and I think Jesse Eisenberg's very good in The Social Network, but I think one of the things that I didn't love about The Social Network was the way Aaron Sorkin was just sort of like so incredibly judgy of his characters in that movie, and Zuckerberg in particular. And I think Sorkin's better at that in Steve Jobs. He shows the bad parts of Jobs, but doesn't really try and like be like, it's because he's into computers that he has no soul.
Yeah.
And I think Fassbender is probably better than Eisenberg at not judging his Steve Jobs, his character, for his sort of failings and shortcomings.
Foibles.
His foibles.
Let's talk about Jordan, because he's the one we all agreed on.
He's my number one.
He's my number one, too.
I
my
walked
winner.
out
It's a
of
star-making performance.
the theater going, oh, this guy's going to win Best Actor. I thought he was going to just
He should be.
sweep
He should
the whole
be
season.
days away from winning Best Actor
It's
right
insane. I mean, A, it's a star-making performance. B, it's a full course meal. He does everything you want out of an actor in a leading role.
Yeah.
He holds the screen. He plays every possible emotion. I mean, people fucking talk about, oh my God, Leo was out in the cold and he ate a liver. Michael B. Jordan got knocked out 6 times filming this movie and isn't going around patting himself on the back for it. It's like, oh, that's part of the job.
Do you know how many times I've seen a movie where the main character is good at something and then goes and tries to like smooth on a girl or whatever, and I find him completely insufferable?
Yeah.
And he should, like, that's by all reasons he should come off that way in Creed, and he totally doesn't. He's so good in those scenes with Tessa Thompson.
Every
and-
scene's a minor miracle.
Oh, man. Their first date scene.
Right?
Incredible.
It's really
That's
good.
where the
And
movie
you're right.
really
like, he
clicks.
should
Yeah.
be being a smoothie
He should be annoying the shit out of
or
him. in those
being
scenes.
like kind of annoyingly awkward or whatever.
Yeah.
He's neither. He's
What's
a
his-
regular person.
What Whiplash comes to mind in that regard? Like all those
Miles
scenes
Whiplash
with
is such
Miles Teller
a
and
is such an
Whiplash.
arch movie, and those scenes are the most arch scenes,
Yeah.
right? Where they're like, it's like almost like they're getting ready to pull the rug out from under you, and like, yeah, those scenes are. Who's the girl? The girl's kind of
Melissa Benoist, who's
Yes,
Supergirl
right,
now.
who's
I think it's
Supergirl.
very
Oh,
good
and
in that
Whiplash.
film. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There is, it's been talked about a lot from a filmmaking perspective. The first main fight in Creed, his like qualifying fight, it's all done in one continuous shot without
great.
edits.
It's real good.
People talk a lot about, oh, as a director, that's crazy to plan that out, and as a cinematographer, a camera operator to move around the actors like that. As an actor, that's an insane feat.
Yeah.
Because he has to look like he's really boxing. The punches have to look like they're really landing, which is why he got knocked out a bunch of times filming that, right? But also the choreography has to be really sharp and really precise, because not only does he have to hit the beats they need for the fight, but he has to move out of the way of the camera.
Yeah.
So like in my small role on the new HBO series Vinyl, now streaming on HBO Go and such platforms.
HBO now as well, probably.
Yes, they do a lot of like a steady cam long shots like that. And it's really difficult in a way I never understood before having to do that, because what will happen is if there's like a steady cam shot with 8 characters and they go acting, oh, just be present, listen, stay in the moment. You're doing your scene, you hit your line, and then you have to take 4 steps back to let the camera come through.
right,
And then you have to land back in the position so that geographically you are where you were established
So
previously.
you gotta like step out, step in, step out, step
have to be
in.
super technical and like in it. The fact that he pulls off that scene is insane, and it looks like a real fight the entire time.
Yeah.
And it goes from his nerves before the fight to his like elation after the fight.
Yeah.
Continuous. I mean, that alone, I feel like
brilliant.
that's an Oscar.
Yeah.
He's a star. He's the best. You know, when people talk about the Oscar so white thing, that's the one that's sort of inarguably egregious.
Absolutely.
People could go, oh, well, Straight Outta Compton didn't deserve to be nominated for Best Picture. Okay, that's an argument you can make, you know? I think it deserved it over other things that were nominated, but it wouldn't have made my 10.
Correct.
Michael B. Jordan, it's insanity for him to not get nominated.
Yep.
Especially in a big hit film. We didn't overlap on anything else, right? All 3 of us.
No, you and I had Garfield.
Oh, yeah, we both had
I
Garfield.
really liked him in that movie.
So
I was sort of bummed that Michael Shannon was the one getting the awards attention for that. He got a lot of those precursor nominations for that. I thought Garfield was. This is a movie I saw a long time ago. I saw it 2 Toronto Film Festivals ago, so it's
Okay,
like it's
wow.
not super fresh in my memory.
Yeah.
But I always think of the accent, which is like kind of a dumb first compliment for someone, but like he's one of those rare not American actors who can hit an American accent
So
without making
well.
me feel like
Yeah.
I'm going crazy. Like
Yeah.
Donald Gleason's really good, but I hate his American accent. Like it's my least favorite thing about him. And I think Garfield really nails it.
I think, you know, he's a wiry guy.
Yeah.
He's pretty slim. He's got a high pitched voice. He's playing in this a real like blue collar.
What a voice that guy has.
But he's like a construction worker, like contractor guy in like Florida. And you could see a lot of other actors like him, especially like a guy who's sort of like posh British background or whatever, really trying to like up the machismo in a way to like be like, I gotta be like a guy's guy.
Yeah.
And he gets that across in a way where you're like,
doesn't feel forced.
oh, but this is what a real guy is like who works construction, not like a movie like manufacturing of that type of
and
like
he doesn't
what it
play up
dude's
his
like.
character sort of like saintly working classness either. Like you
No.
see why he like falls down this rabbit hole of
Yeah.
working for this guy who's flipping homes and who's sort
Yeah.
of screwing people out of their mortgages and
even little details like his cigarette work in that movie is unbelievable.
underrated aspect.
The way he keeps the thing he does with his mouth to keep the cigarette in there while he's working is so specific. Where it's like, oh, he needs to have a tight grip on that, because he's working machinery and shit. Great performance. Ian McKellen in Mr. Holmes, a movie I think is fine.
I thought it was pretty underwhelming.
But I think it's a pretty great like lifetime achievement Oscar. He has to play like
He deserves one of those.
his own
for
age,
sure.
and he plays
does.
like 95 in the film as well.
Yeah.
And best puttering of the year. He wins my Putters and Murmurs award, which last year would have gone to Timothy Spall for
Mr. Turner.
Mr. Turner.
So good.
If you have an old, like a veteran British character actor playing a film in which they are the title character with Mr. before their last name and they putter and murmur, I will give you a nomination. He's great. He would almost be my winner, but I probably want to go with Michael B. Jordan. Tom Hanks' Birds of Spies just reminds us why he's a movie star.
Very solid.
He's wonderful.
An effortless performance that could only be done by someone who is that comfortable in their skin, knows their power, doesn't push it too hard.
Yep.
And just his work on having a head cold in the latter half of the film is unbelievable.
That's true.
Because you keep on forgetting. Like, he's getting into these long monologues where you're so caught up in what he's saying,
Yeah.
and you're like, is he just tired this day? And then he like takes out the tissue. It's like, right, no, he's just got a little bit of a cold.
It's one of those great ways of like ramping up tension in something without having to like put more stakes on the outcome. It's just sort of like, oh no, he's also just like, oh, he's so miserable.
Just want to get home, want to get back into bed.
Yeah.
Paul Dano, Love and Mercy, just a great performance.
I think he's very good in that.
Yeah. And I think he also got fucked over by category placement.
Yeah.
Other ones you guys want to spotlight?
Lucas is great in The Mend. You guys
Still
should
need
all
to
watch
watch
The Mend.
it.
It's on Netflix. I think
Yeah.
you just watched it.
Yeah, I just saw it recently, and Lucas is an actor who I'm rooting for. I feel
Me
like.
too.
That's a movie that's a little tough for me. I think movies that sort of really try and sort of revel in
Check
how-
out this jerk.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this jerk. I really root for this jerk. Root for this jerk movies are not my favorite. And yet-
I waver on him, and yet
Yeah.
I rooted for that jerk in The Mend.
Yeah.
You get him.
What
You
was
get
last
him.
year's Alex Ross Perry movie?
Well, that wasn't Alex. Oh, but
Listen
your
Up,
last
Philip.
year, Listen Up, Philip.
There was another root for this jerk kind of movie.
That one was more interesting because that one, what I liked about Listen Up, Philip, we should probably move on. But still, the fact that
I like that
cuts,
movie, too.
the cuts in the middle to Elizabeth
That's
Moss,
the
and
key to
you're
the
like,
entire
Oh,
film.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the key to the entire film.
And then Jason Segel's incredible in the end of the tour. It's a lead performance.
Yeah.
Everyone shut up.
I also have not seen that yet. I need to see that.
Also, seek out Hungry Hearts. I'm telling you, Adam Driver is very, very good. He plays a recently married new dad whose wife is sort of tumbling down this rabbit hole of not trusting the outside world and Western medicine and baby food companies. So, like, all of a sudden, it's just like, what is she feeding their kid? And he's got to figure out a way to deal with it.
I believe
He's very
that's on Netflix as well, streaming right now.
I think you
it
are
is.
correct.
Ben was champing at the bit. You look like you have something to say.
Oh, well, I just wanted to add that I really kind of hope that DiCaprio doesn't win.
Oh, me too.
Like,
Nothing.
I'm so excited to
would make
watch
me
his face.
happier.
It'd be
and it
really
not
funny.
go
Gonna win.
to him.
It'd be really funny. He's totally going to win, but it'd be really funny.
I mean, it's almost rigged when you look at the nominations. Like,
Yeah.
it's like so clearly pointing to him. But
Well, especially we just point out so many good contenders, some of whom were in big films that got nominated in other categories.
Yep.
And it feels like they were just like, let's nominate 4 patsies so that we can like. None of the other
Yeah,
nominees are bad, but
totally.
like none of them have what it takes to win.
Right,
DiCaprio's
exactly.
the only one who has a shot.
Yeah.
I hope he loses so hard. I think that is not a good performance. I love DiCaprio sometimes. I think he's got certain really bad habits that he can go into when he's trying to prove that he's a grown up and a tough guy and this and that. I think this is a collection of all his worst traits.
Given
as an
who
actor.
is nominated this year, though, I would almost be like, you know what, give it to DiCaprio, and then we don't have to go through this whole rigmarole next time.
I agree.
With like,
Yeah.
oh, will he win? What's
Get
he
it
got to
over
do
with.
to win? What does he have to like? What hardships does he have to
Yeah.
go through?
It's a weak
fine.
year. Get it over with.
Get it over
Rip the
with.
Band-Aid off.
Whatever.
Exactly.
I hate it. Best director.
Yes.
My nominees are Todd Haynes for Carol, Steven Spielberg for Bridge of Spies, George Miller for Mad Max Fury Road, Sean Baker for Tangerine.
Baker's a good one.
And you know what? I wrote down something different here, but I'm going to fucking flip it around. Ryan Coogler for Creed.
That's good. That's also maybe a good one for me. You're making me question my picks.
I had put in Charlie Kaufman and Duke Johnson for Anomalisa,
Boo.
which I love.
Not a fan of that.
Yeah, me
but Brian Coogler, I think that's like such an incredible calling card movie.
Yeah.
And an impossible task. I mean, you look at what he was trying to do, and you look at in a year where, we all like The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But like Creed, he pulls it off effortlessly in every box, which is like make a film that reminds you of the original ones, charts out new territory, erases the things that people don't want to remember from the previous, introduce a new star that you want to follow for as many films as you followed the original characters. Really unshowy, but really precise. Every shot, every cut has meaning, and just a real authenticity and a real passion.
He's great.
Yeah. Todd Haynes. Oh yeah. Let's.
Do you want me to give mine?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Todd Haynes for Carol.
Uh-huh.
Mia Hansen-Love for Eden. Joshua Oppenheimer for The Look of Silence.
Ooh.
George Miller for Mad Max Fury Road. And Laszlo Nemes for Son of Saul.
Okay. David.
Olivier Assayas for Clouds of Sils Maria. Todd Haynes for Carol. George Miller for Mad Max. Mia Hansen-Love for Eden.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Stevie Spielberg.
Stevie
Bridge
Spielberg.
of Spies.
Good old Stevie Spielberg.
You guys, I feel like you guys are very big champions of
We-
Bridge of Spies.
yeah,
I feel like
love
that
it.
one's hanging out in my like 20 to 30 range for
It's
the year,
my
which
number
is
3,
It's my number 7.
Very good.
but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Great movie. Love it. I think we take him for granted now. And
I think that's definitely
we
true.
do.
Yeah, and the film is so low key. The amount of people I see who write off is going like, "Oh, it's like a good dad movie."
It is.
And it's like, yeah, because it's not trying to do anything flashy. It's
Right.
just a good story,
Right.
well told. That's another film where if you look at the blocking of every scene, every single camera movement in that film is justified and is linked to revealing something about character or action or something like
This is
that.
all giving me flashbacks to the year I defended Warhorse for an entire award season.
Boy,
God, I loved Warhorse.
brother.
That was a tough position to
Yeah.
stake out. I don't envy that.
Tintin was that same year, right?
It was.
I was all about that Tintin.
Yeah.
Living that Tintin life.
But let's not dwell too much on the directors because we're about to do our
Yeah,
best
I was
picture.
going to say we can talk about that within the context
And I
of Best
think, I mean,
Picture.
I'm guessing here.
Unless anybody has a director who's not on their Best Picture list.
Well, are we doing 5 or 10 for picture?
Kugler would be right out of my 10.
They're
it's
all
like,
in my top
yeah.
10.
Yeah,
Four of them
I'd
are
say
in my
Creed
top
would be out of
five.
my top 10 rather.
You didn't pick. I can't pronounce his last name, but the Revenant's director.
Oh no, I hate him.
And Yaritu.
Yeah.
You guys hate him.
He is the
I'm not a
winner.
fan.
He's the winner of my 2016 Punch in the Dick Award.
You have a lot of different awards, Griff.
Yeah, he's my new
Got the
Colin
Mumbly
Trevorrow.
Award.
If you see Mumbles and Murmurs,
Yes.
if you see Colin Trevorrow, please punch him in the penis. Same to Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu.
but he's gonna win. I mean,
Boy, I hope not.
He might win.
yeah.
I think at this point, I think we all need to start making our peace with the fact that Iñárritu and The Revenant are both winning.
He's the
Oscars.
Emperor's New Movie. You know, it's
Yeah.
like he's like that's his whole thing. It's like, oh, these films will see I live in in the desert. It's cold. It's about the
gonna
art,
be-
the struggle, and it's like the movie's about nothing. Both of those movies are about nothing. Birdman's about nothing.
It's going to be really great when Colin Trevorrow gets pulled off of episode 9, only to be
Replaced with
replaced with Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu.
I am going to blow a fuse. Who do we all pick in this?
For winner,
Yeah,
Haynes. Todd Haynes for Carol.
David.
Olivier Assayas.
I thought we were going to
Haynes is a
all
great
link
choice.
up in this.
Haynes is a
I
great
go.
George Miller?
I go George Miller.
He's
I know
very
it's
good.
most director,
It
Oh,
is
he's
definitely most
but-
director.
but I think that's the toughest film to pull off.
I almost never don't pick my favorite movie of the year for best
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
I think
Or are you a hardliner for that? Shouldn't
you-
shouldn't split?
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Not always.
Well-
I guess that makes me a hardliner.
Perhaps foreshadowing as we go on to Best Picture.
Yes.
Gentlemen, are we going to do this in any sort of ranked order, or do we want to?
I have them ranked 1 to 10.
Do you have them ranked 1 to 10?
I have him ranked.
Okay, so let's start at 10.
Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10, In Jackson Heights.
Creed.
I was on the cusp between two films for number 10 here, and I'm going to make just a last second choice
Do
to
it.
flip
What
one
a
out.
terrible
What I had
title
written
for a
down
movie.
here. Number 10, Mustang.
Mustang's good. Mustang's real good. Best foreign language film nominee.
Number 9,
Number 9, Mad Max Fury Road.
Mistress America.
Phoenix.
Good choice.
Number 8,
Mistress America.
Phoenix.
Kamiko the Treasure Hunter.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Number 7,
Spotlight.
Bridge of Spies.
Inside Out. Number 6,
Steve Jobs.
Inside Out.
Anomalisa. Number 5,
Room.
Tangerine.
Carol. Number 4,
Eden.
Eden.
Furious 7.
Eden's a great movie, by the way. We haven't talked about it.
We should. Yeah, it's really good.
Number 3,
Son of Saul.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Bridge of Spies. Number 2,
The Look of Silence.
Carol.
Tangerine. Number 1,
Carol.
Clouds of Sils Maria.
Mad Max Fury Road.
There we go.
That was easy for everyone to hear.
That was a hurricane of titles
Yeah.
coming at you.
All of those movies are worth seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
David.
thing, we don't really disagree.
David, talk to me about Eden. We really love.
I
that
still haven't
movie.
seen
Eden's
it.
incredible.
Yeah.
I think
Eden's
you
like
should
is it 3 hours long?
I don't think it's
Close to
quite
3.
that long.
2 hour, 45
Doesn't feel
minute.
like it. I'll say that.
Epic about the French house music scene in the 90s.
Yep.
Stretches quite a long period of time, like it's telling a long story.
Very immersive. Very kind of. It brings you through that history in
Yes.
a way that like you'll remember, even if you were not into house music, as I wasn't really.
No.
There's a great sort of like atmospheric 90s-ness to it. that I really
Absolutely.
loved. Yeah.
It's about artistic expression and stasis,
Yes.
and like how, following your passions can be rewarding, but then can also be like devastating to your life in a weird sort of quiet and slowly building kind of way.
And this just constant wallpaper of this really fantastic music that will
Yes.
really sort of like as you're going through, there's ennui and there's sort of indecisiveness as you were saying, but like it just like this music sort of propels you from scene to scene in a way that's just.
I agree.
I was so happy after seeing that movie.
Everyone in it is good. Felix de Givry, who
Yeah.
plays the lead actor, he'd be a runner-up for me. And that,
Yeah, he was one of my runners-up.
It's Mia Hansen-Løve, who's a great director. Everything she's made is worth checking out. Goodbye First Love is one of my favorites.
I
of
got to
hers.
talk to them after I saw that movie at Toronto a couple years ago, and it was one of my better experiences at that film festival.
She's married to the director of your number 1
Yeah.
film.
She is married to Olivier Assayas. I love both of
Power
them
couple,
so much.
seriously.
They're a real power couple.
Yeah.
And it's great. Anyway, so guys, check out Eden. I have no idea how.
Yeah, I don't think it's
it came
on-
out.
Yeah, I bet you'd probably have to like pay a few bucks to rent it
Yeah,
on
you'd have to
Amazon or
rent
something
it.
like that. But it's
Clear out a few hours and
Yeah.
sit down.
But
And
being such a cheapskate, pay a little bit.
it's a
more.
good movie to be trapped within a theater. It's a
Absolutely.
good movie you don't want to be distracted from. But go on. Yeah, it's all about mood and slowly building that mood.
Totally.
I just want quickly, because I picked in a few categories, I just want to throw a little spotlight because it also is on Netflix and Amazon Prime, I believe. Kamiko the Treasure Hunter, which I love,
It's a cool little
is
movie.
a film based on a urban legend that has existed for a long time about a Japanese woman who saw the movie Fargo, and because at the beginning of the film it says based on a true story,
Right.
believes that there's actually this briefcase with the money buried in the snow and goes to Minnesota to try to find the briefcase.
Mhm.
And it's a fascinating movie because it's like loosely based on a true story that they didn't do any research into, in the same way that Fargo is loosely based on urban legends that they didn't do any research into.
Yep.
So it's a movie about movies and our relationship with movies. Rinko Kikuchi is one of my favorite performances of the year. The Zollner brothers, who I haven't seen either other films. I know they're sort of have a solid
don't think I
reputation
have
as indie brother. They're kind of the next Coen brothers in a weird sort of way. So it's a lot of interesting layers to that movie.
Mhm.
I love it. We didn't talk about Inside Out at all because I feel like everyone in America's talked about Inside Out.
I like
We
that
all like
movie.
Inside Out. It's a good movie.
It's a real good movie.
Phoenix we talked about. I'm looking through these. Carol we all love. We're all gaga about.
Yeah.
That's your winner.
That's my number one.
I
I think that as soon as I saw that movie, I was like, "This is going to be very, very hard to displace." As my number one, it comes together. It's got all the elements.
I'll say that the reason why Mad Max is my number one, it's the opposite thing where every time I saw it, it got better.
Yeah.
I saw it the first time I liked it. I saw it with you, David. You invited me to a critic screening.
Correct.
And I had...
It's where we came up with the black blank check concept.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
I came in like... I don't remember
You
what
came
was
in
happening.
with like I have a like sort of overarching theory of what our podcast is about.
I also came in with hives. I don't remember why it was happening.
no.
That's
but
right.
I was itching the whole movie. My eyes were like... I had a very difficult time physically watching it the first time, the movie, and I was like, this is great, but I'm in an intense
It's
amount
very
of discomfort.
intense. It's an intense movie.
And my whole body was burning.
Yeah.
So I saw it a second time.
So all those boils on the screen were probably not doing much for you.
Right. And I was like, I think this movie's excellent. I got to see it a second time where my body is calmed the fuck down.
Yeah.
And I saw it a second time, and it grew for me. I think I saw it 4 times in theaters.
Wow.
I just think it's a miracle movie. It doesn't make sense that it exists.
It weirdly holds up on television. I saw it on
Yeah.
HBO a little bit ago, and I was surprised at how much I still was like super into it.
It gets deeper for me every time. Every time I watch it, when I'm more familiar with the world, I'm able to focus on other elements and just see how fully realized every single choice in that film is.
Yeah.
Towards building a world and towards sort of asking questions about the world that we live in.
Yeah.
Reflects the world that we live in.
Also, it does a bang-up job with like geography in terms of
It's-
action
yeah.
and in terms of narrative and like where things are going. You always know exactly where you are, where the characters are, where their pursuers are, like all of that.
I read an interview with him where he said because he knew how many cuts he was going to have and how much movement he was going to have within the frames, that he always, this runs throughout the entire movie, the most important element is always dead center at the center of the frame.
Yeah.
And if you watch it, it's like every frame is perfectly composed so that you know what your eyes are supposed to go to first.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. Tangerine, I love. I talked about the performances, but it's for those of you
That
who
was
don't know,
just outside my top 10.
Also on Netflix, I believe.
is on
Yep.
Netflix. And it was shot entirely on an iPhone 5.
Which I noticed for the entirety of the first scene and then not at all after that.
Uses
I
it
completely stopped
so
thinking
well.
Yeah.
I would even consider putting it in my cinematography nominees
That'd be a
over
good one.
something like The Revenant that's technically so accomplished.
Right.
That's the one thing I like about that movie is the cinematography. But
But
Tangerine,
it calls attention to itself in The Revenant
Yes.
so much in a way that like Tangerine really just doesn't ask for that kind of applause.
they make it to an aesthetic choice, but also you see how the fact that they are shooting on an iPhone affects, I think, in a positive way, the performances from all these non-professional actors.
Yep.
Where they're so much more comfortable on screen. They're able to get these amazing long takes where they're like walking down the streets of Hollywood and no one's stopping them because they don't have to lay out track.
Sure.
They don't have to block out lights. They're just following someone around with an iPhone.
Yeah, it's a movie that has a sense of its city.
Yeah.
And obviously that guerrilla filmmaking style probably helped with that. I talked to Sean Baker.
Did you?
so
Yeah, he's a
smart.
wonderful guy, and he was very interesting in terms of talking about micro budgeting
Mhm.
and how he feels like, I can't remember, I wish I could remember the exact amount of days they shot for. It's something like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, like, micro budget movies these days, they shoot for a week. You can't do that. Everyone's bad the first 4 days. Is
Right.
essentially the way he put it. You
Yeah.
need like this cushion because everyone sucks at acting,
Yeah.
and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then like after a few days, it's fine, and
Yeah.
then you're good. So you just
That's
he had
really
a lot of
interesting.
insights. He's been doing this for a long time.
Smart guy, great movie. He also created Greg the Bunny.
did.
Remember that fuck?
Many years ago.
He's
Yeah.
had a weird career. But it's a phenomenal film, and I think announces the arrival of like a major director who I think is going to do incredible stuff going forward. But the film is about two transsexual prostitutes
Two friends.
in Hollywood. Not the two friends, but they are two
Two
friends.
friends.
One of them gets out of jail and finds out that her boyfriend, who is also her pimp, has been seeing another woman, and the whole movie takes place on Christmas Eve with them trying to find the woman and the pimp and make
I like
them
that we have
reckon.
another Christmas movie where it can be like Christmas movie.
Yeah,
Tangerine's
it goes
a
into that
Christmas
great
movie.
category of like Die Hard and all the unconventional Christmas movies. And Iron Man 3, the best Christmas film.
Which takes place all in one day, from what I
God
understand.
damn it. God damn it. Love it. Love that movie.
Yeah.
Mustang just made it as my 10. I'd previously had written down when I locked this list like a month ago. Shaun the Sheep movie,
I liked Shaun the Sheep movie.
which is an
I really
entirely
did.
silent film,
Yep.
and I think deserves major props for
It should.
having less dialogue than the artist did.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't even have intertitles. It doesn't have a single spoken line in it, and it's
quite
just a
good.
very, very simple story that I think kind of ends up being a little profound about our places in the world, about learning to accept who you are
Yeah.
and where you are rather than dreaming big. Great movie. Mustang, also phenomenal.
Yeah.
I need to see that one.
That would be my best foreign film winner.
It
Animated.
would be Phoenix.
Oh, yeah. That'd be my number 2.
Mine would be Son of Saul, but I think they're all up there.
Animated film for me this year, that category is the most stacked.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, because I think, I
Likes Anomalisa.
Well,
I
yeah,
love
I, had a hard
Anomalisa.
time filling up my top 5 for that.
Inside Out. I love Shaun the Sheep movie.
Yeah, you're a big fan of that one.
Yeah,
like that one a lot.
I've been very outspoken in my support of Hotel Transylvania 2.
You have.
That while not living up to the heights of the original,
Of course.
still is probably the most accomplished piece of animation this year.
Yeah.
From an animation standpoint alone, it's the best work in the medium.
I just saw When Marnie Was There, the Studio Ghibli movie.
Need to see that.
I quite liked that.
Need to watch that.
It's good.
So I gotta ask, guys. We're getting down to about
Getting
an
down
hour
to
and a
it.
half.
Okay.
Alright, so I think we
We've
should.
done our major categories.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we should kind of wrap it up. I don't know if you want to hit some of the other categories or just what are our thoughts?
I mean, here's a thing that I just assume we're all on the same page about.
Yeah.
Best score of the year, Carter Burwell for
Carol,
right?
100%.
Great
Although
score.
there have been some really good scores this year.
Agreed.
I will say.
I was going to say, what are some favorite scores that people have?
Disaster Piece for It Follows.
That score is terrifying.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be listening to that score in movie trailers and in like montages and stuff like that
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
It Follows like a top 20 movie for me that year. Great movie.
Yeah.
I really like Johan Johansson's incredibly nominated score for Sicario. I can't believe the Oscars went for that because it is all just like rumbles and
Atonal,
twanging, atonal bangs. But that's a really cool, moody score. I think Daniel Pemberton's score for Steve Jobs, which I listened to over and
I
over
like
and
it.
over,
I like
is,
it a lot.
Very impressive, even though it's very over the top and obviously
Danny
guides
Boyle,
the movie.
Danny Boyle leans on it a couple times when you're just like, Danny.
He leans
you
on his
got it.
music. Boyle likes to lean on his music. You know, Sunshine has a very overbearing score that's great.
Oh, one of my favorites.
And now
score.
is used in every single
It's
trailer.
true, yeah.
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire. Obviously, the music's really crucial. I think Howard Shore's Spotlight score is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Would be in my 5, no
As someone
question.
who's just watched a ton of Cronenberg movies,
Yeah.
Howard Shore's the best.
Got so much range.
What a
also did
chameleon.
Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings.
Yeah,
Like,
of
he can do
course.
anything.
Yeah.
He was the original music director on Saturday Night Live. That guy's had an insane,
amazing.
insane varied career.
Yeah, we got some good scores out of movies that I feel like were really small. Did either of you see Z for Zachariah?
No.
The movie with Margot Robbie and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Really good score there. Heather McIntosh was the composer.
Mm-hmm.
A Little Chaos, the Alan Rickman directed movie with Kate Winslet. I know. Score by Peter Gregson. That's really good. Go out and listen to that. And then Junkie XL, who was nominated for Mad Max, also did the score for the Point Break remake. And that's not a great movie, but that is a good score.
Hey, good point, because I want to spotlight. I would nominate Point Break for Best Cinematography.
It's got some elements in
I
that
didn't
movie
see that movie
I kinda
because
liked.
I value my sanity and time.
Yeah, you're
Here's what I will
smart because
say.
life is finite, and at some point we die.
It is true, except I would also say that Edgar Ramirez could have good chemistry with a man, a woman, or a pile of leaves on the floor.
Agreed.
Look, he's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's so charming and magnetic in everything, and in this especially.
he's a bit of a confusing element in Joy.
Yeah.
He is. Well, he's not used very well.
No, he is not. But what is in Joy, really?
Joy's a bit of a confusing
Bradley Cooper.
element.
The
That's
mop.
Yeah,
the mop
so
is
good.
actually used very well in
Mop.
Joy.
Yeah, the mop's great in that fucking movie.
I just like saying mop.
Should be called Mop.
Yeah.
Sean
do we
the
want
Mop
to say
movie.
some
Well, I was going to say
Mop the Sean movie?
Point Break was directed by a cinematographer, and it shows.
It definitely shows.
Yeah, because it's gorgeous looking. I saw it in 3D. It's one of the only good uses of 3D I've seen in years.
Yeah.
It was actually sort of immersive and astounding. And they went to all these real locations, crazy places
Yeah.
in the earth. But movie sucks otherwise, though. Another cinematography nominee I'd want to spotlight is Magic Mike XXL.
Great.
Oh.
With Soderbergh himself.
Soderbergh as Peter Andrews,
Yep.
pretending to be a different person.
The man can light. He lights things well.
One scene that jumps out to me is the one where Channing Tatum meets
on the beach?
What's her name? Ever heard on the beach, and it's all done.
No, her name is what's her name?
Yes.
What's her name?
She is a professional. What's her name?
Yeah,
She's so bad in the.
but it's all
Danish
done with
Girl.
moonlight, and you can. Oh, so terrible.
Oh, I mean,
Top 5 worst performances.
she would
Yeah,
ruin the Danish Girl if
If it was
wasn't
ruinable?
terrible. Yes.
Yeah, I think she's getting off easy because everything else in the movie is so bad. But that's a terrible.
But also,
performance.
it's just a triumph of terrible casting. Why do
Yeah.
you cast? Why do you cast her?
A strange.
Do you know what Tom Hooper said?
Because Johnny Depp called him and was like, "Will you cast her?"
In an interview, Tom Hooper said, "I cast her because I was trying to think of someone who was just so feminine and could represent femininity."
Tommy.
What are you talking
Tommy.
about?
What are we talking about here?
But yes, Magic Mike XSL, the scene with what's her name on the beach. That's all done with moonlight. Like a cool thing that fucking Soderbergh isn't afraid to do is just have scenes be dark. If in real life those people would not be able to see each other.
Yeah.
It was interesting that he lit Jada Pinkett's mansion as if it were an episode of True Blood.
Loved it. All red.
Me too. Love the mansion scene.
Crushed reds. Loved it.
Yeah, good cinematography this year for me. You know, it's pretty obvious. Ed Lackman.
That
Carol.
Ed Lackman
he's
sure
my
knows
number
how
one.
to do it.
John Seal for Mad Max Fury Road.
Agreed. Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I want to
well
spotlight.
shot movie.
Didn't get nomination. I think they were able to somehow make a movie that looks like Star Wars without trying to look like the old movies.
Yeah.
They came up with a new visual language because the film does look different than the originals, but that it represents the feeling of Star Wars. A tough task.
I am rooting for Roger
I
Deakins
was
to
gonna
win
say,
for Sicario.
He just needs to
Deakins,
fucking get an Oscar.
He's so good.
he should be our Leonardo DiCaprio this year. Let's give it to him.
He's probably not going to
He's
win.
probably
'cause
not gonna
fucking Chivo's going to win again.
Of course.
He's great.
3 in a row.
Lubeski's great.
Yes.
Let's
Let's all stop calling him Chivo. I know you did that ironically.
Yeah, I did.
we're not
Janusz,
friends with him.
Janusz
Is great.
Mr. Pool of Light himself for Bridge of Spies. That's
Mr.
a great.
Pool of Light.
What else is
Thomas
well lit?
Newman's work for Bridge of Spies, talking about score as
I
well.
do love a Thomas Newman
It's
score.
his first. It's one of 2 Spielberg films not scored by Williams. 3.
Yeah.
And
That's a trivia question I'm waiting to show up at some point.
Sugarland Express
and
Color Purple was Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
But I love John Williams. I actually, despite saying some previously harsh things on past episodes, I've been re-listening to the Star Wars score a lot now and really think it's great now. It's come around for me. But I think, and Creed works in a similar way.
Great
excellent score.
Very
using the
underrated.
old
Very
themes
underrated.
and incorporating new themes and matching them up really, really well.
Yep.
But it's just exciting to see Spielberg work with a new composer and vice versa. And Thomas Newman did like a really great classic old Hollywood score in that movie.
I hated Thomas Newman's score in Bridge of Spies. It's the one thing that doesn't work for me in the movie.
David.
I didn't love it.
Yeah, that movie needed.
And
a
I
John
love
Williams
Thomas
score.
Newman, but
That's
I
my
didn't love
jam.
it.
That's my jam.
It's a huge bummer that John Williams didn't score that movie.
No, I love that score. Ben, any things you want to throw out? You have a notepad in front of you.
Yes, I do. I came up with some categories.
Let's run through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm
Okay.
Is
excited.
that why you wrote sexy?
Ah, nice.
Yeah, Ben-
Best sexy.
Ben's flipping over to a second page of notes now.
He's got a lot of notes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just start with best location.
Okay.
I think Steve Jobs really used the space.
I agree with you. I don't even know if you're being funny.
I can't tell. I don't know which side this coin's going to land on.
Also thought room. I mean, that's just
It's a good room.
That just makes sense.
See, once
room.
again, a funny joke, but also correct. I don't
think that's
know.
actually true.
Yeah,
sure.
And Hateful Eight. I mean, again, kind
Another
of one
room.
place, but
You're just
It's good.
talking about places that are set inside.
But he's also correct. All
He
those
is,
movies
he is.
use their
Ooh.
location well.
Ooh,
Oh,
well,
we're
I
getting-
got
we're
The
getting a
Martian for you.
Mars.
Yeah, it's another planet.
we didn't.
Is that sort of like how
Ben looks so proud.
We didn't
right
talk
now.
about The Martian. The Martian's good.
It's good. Good movie.
Martian's
Yeah.
a perfect number 10 through 20 movie
Yeah.
in like almost everything.
Maybe
this year.
21 for me, but a lot of fun.
Yes.
Great ensemble cast.
Good popcorn entertainment. The
Yep.
Martian. Glad it made all that money.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, that's nice for America.
As is Ridley Scott, because that's all he could talk about during his Golden Globes acceptance speech.
Yeah,
It was
right.
great. Love Ridley Scott.
And let's just all acknowledge that movie is so funny. The Martian is
All
such,
right,
such
enough,
a
enough,
good
enough.
comedy.
He makes it a poo-poo.
Yeah,
The
and I
foods.
couldn't stop laughing.
Ah.
Ben, other categories you have prepared?
Yeah.
Or is there another nominee in that
well, and
category?
then just Revenant for location.
Yeah, okay.
Best Revenant? Oh, okay.
Actually, there are some movies with good locations we should talk about. I want to expand on him.
The House in Ex Machina.
The
I think
House
is
in Mistress
unbelievable.
America, actually.
Yes.
The House in Ex Machina and the House in which is in like Norway, and the House in Mistress America in Greenwich, Connecticut. Those are two great answers.
Donut Time and Tangerine.
Yeah.
Donut Time and Tangerine, which is a real place.
Mhm.
You've got that crazy place under the bridge, and It Follows, where he ties her to the
Yes.
chair.
Oh.
That is
Yes,
such a
yes.
scary location.
Yes.
The fucking Opera House in Rogue Nation.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Black Hat, that crazy end sequence where they're in like Malaysia or something.
Do you love Black Hat, Joe? Because this is a very pro Black Hat
Well,
podcast.
No,
Black
I'm
Hat.
not. I didn't love Black Hat. You and I have talked about how much we love Viola Davis in Black
my
Hat.
6
Great.
through 10.
She's in my
Yeah,
6 through 10
for
as well.
supporting actress.
She's really good.
Weaving gold out of nothing.
Yes, out of
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
Crimson Peak, the most haunted house in
Oh,
the
yeah.
world.
If there's any one Oscar nomination that didn't happen that I'm saddest about,
Yeah,
it's
art
art
direction
direction,
design.
production design for Crimson Peak.
That's art
It's
direction,
outrageous.
the movie.
It is.
Yeah.
That's entirely the point of that movie.
Ben, further categories?
Yeah. Okay. So David mentioned, yes, I wrote sexy-ist down. And so
First you
this
wrote
is
sexy, but
this
then I
is
think
an
you
interesting
expanded.
category where
Okay.
some of the entries I feel like are sexist and others are kind of
Oh.
sexy or both.
Sexiest.
Ben's
sexism.
always playing two angles at once.
So you got 50 Shades of Grey. I mean,
Sure.
sort of sexy, but also kind
Pretty-
of like
pretty sexy.
ugh.
I
Sexist.
found that movie not very sexy.
I find one scene sexy, and it's the scene where they're negotiating the terms of the
Well,
contract.
that's the best
Right.
scene in the
Yes.
film.
And then Jurassic World.
It's sexist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Movie
Yep, yeah.
doesn't
It-
like women.
It's got that going for it.
Yeah,
Uh,
going for.
And then Entourage.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know which side that falls on.
Yep. But
Sexy
then you
movie.
got Carol.
Ooh.
No comment.
Carol.
Oh, sorry.
Carol.
What's going on? Okay, so that's another one of my original categories.
It's a good original category.
Cool.
How
Okay.
about the Duke of Burgundy for sexiest movie?
Uh-huh.
That's a fucking crazy,
It's
fucking
a really good
crazy,
movie.
crazy movie. It is
Magic
really
Mike
good.
XXL. Sexy
Legit.
as
Legit.
shit.
Very
As I said,
sexy.
Edgar Ramirez in Point
Yeah.
Break.
You know,
very
movie's
sexy.
fucking sexy.
What?
Creed.
Yeah.
It's a sexy movie.
Ooh, those are some sexy young actors.
They got
Sexy
some
young
nice
actors.
sex scenes. Very
Yep.
brief little sex.
Yep.
Chirac is really sexy.
It is.
Yep.
Legitimately very sexy.
Bridge of Spies,
Um,
very sexy for me. That bridge is so fucking well designed.
I'm trying to think. You know, it's a sexy looking movie that I forgot to mention in cinematography and location. Slow West, one of the most
Love
underrated.
the way
haven't
that movie
seen
looks.
it.
That's a great western that everyone should see, starring Mr. Michael Fassbender
Absolutely.
and Cody Smith McPhee and Ben Mendelsohn.
What a nice group of guys.
What a good group
Good
of guys.
bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And a young lady who I think I didn't know,
She's good in that.
but
Yeah.
she's really good. She was like a more unknown actress. I'm going to have to find her name.
Yeah, check out Slow West. Very, very good.
Ben,
Okay. Now, you're going to have to bear with me on this one, guys. This one's a little complicated.
bear with you. What are you, the Revenant?
Okay, so I felt like initially I was thinking like best remakes because
Okay.
there's like a lot of films that aren't even necessarily remakes like Point Break, but like continuing with whatever the
Like
series.
reboots of
Reboots.
dormant franchises.
But then I started thinking what would be more interesting is to analyze films that would be remade where babies, animals, or puppets are replacing all the actors.
So, Ben, your category is films that should be remade with babies, animals, or puppets?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I specified what kind of thing.
Okay, so you'll tell us which of the three it falls under.
So
okay.
Spotlight, clearly puppets, just because of the nature of the film.
Ben's face is red with pride right
You know
now.
what? You don't want to recast Spotlight with babies.
No, absolutely not.
that's-
No,
that's
you
puppets.
can't do babies.
Puppets.
That's very much.
And animals
That's a
aren't great
no-no.
actors. You need
Right.
craft in order to pull off the roles in Spotlight. Okay. So Spotlight with puppets, that's one.
The room animals, I think that would kind of liven that up a little bit.
Well, you don't want to let the animals outside.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to keep them in a room.
Exactly. It feels more natural that
course,
way,
yeah.
right? Hatefully, I thought fruit.
So you established that it's one of three things, and then now
I
breaking all the
threw
rules.
fruit into because I just thought that'd be fun. Like fruits just sitting there, and then people are talking like.
Then they
yo.
all get like shot and they explode.
Yeah.
So
in a
it's-
pulpy mess.
There
Yes.
goes that cantaloupe.
You know,
Just
That was
everywhere.
Channing Tatum. He was a
It
cantaloupe.
was a cantaloupe.
credit where credit's
You never see it
due.
coming.
Spoiler. Credit where credit is due. I thought you were going to go Hateful Eight Babies, and I was going to be really on board with that. Fruit is an even better choice. I want to see, what would Michael Masden be? A mango? A guava?
What would he be?
A star?
yeah.
A star fruit?
A star. No,
No,
he
we
doesn't
haven't
have the
hit
star
it.
power in that move. Anybody?
we haven't hit it.
Tim
star
Roth
fruit.
is a kiwi,
I feel
right?
like Sam Jackson's your star fruit in that movie.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Tim
Ben,
Roth is a kiwi.
I got to hear two more.
Yeah, so it's a real throw up on this one. I don't know.
It's a vomit. By the way, Ben just vomited on
It's a
his
real
notepad.
bag of vomit.
Sorry about
Go
that.
ahead, Ben.
So I wasn't sure for babies. I wanted to go for either Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Okay.
But I
Babies
feel
in
like-
business wear is always cute.
Yeah, always cute.
With
it's a
clipboards.
lot of memorization of dialogue though for
Yeah,
a
but-
baby.
I
They
love
won't-
the idea of babies sitting in a control room, like a NASA room for like the
Oh,
Martian.
Martian.
I
So
think that's the
Martian.
better pick.
I think that's
yeah.
the way to go.
And also, you could call it Martian babies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Plus, babies, a lot of poop, so like those
Yes.
potatoes would be growing like crazy.
is
They'll
true.
have potatoes like crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And is there a fifth nominee?
No, I think I think I hit them all.
Great.
Yeah.
So just once
Just
again,
four.
your category was movies that would be better if they were remade with babies, puppets, or animals.
And then I also added fruit.
And added fruit.
Right. So there are only 4 nominees, and you didn't include fruit in the title of the category.
All right, let's move on,
Okay,
Griffin.
great.
You know what I was doing.
We get it. We get it. We all heard. We all heard.
You're the poet laureate. You play by your own rules.
Oh, an honorable mention to concussion.
For which?
For exposing to the world about
Oh, yeah.
the
Just an honorable mention.
It just gets an honorable mention.
NFL being a evil corporation.
Is that
Tip
anything?
of the
You've
hat.
got a category called No Thank You.
Oh, I also have one favorite bit title. You're burnt.
Is that like a lifetime achievement award for like the lifetime of you burnt?
Boy,
It could be.
been a good-
I
it's
mean,
been a good,
I'm going to be able to
venerable
reference that
Yeah.
and make a great bit out of it for
Yeah.
years to come.
Can we end on no thank you? I just need to hear what that is.
Yeah.
Well, it's just movies that I didn't see and I was not interested, and heard about them, and I was like, no, thank you.
I wanna
As
hear-
we were talking about them, you were just like, yeah, no.
I want to hear the list, but at the end of each movie you read off, you have to deliver an no thank you, okay? So the nominees for Ben Hosley's 2016 no thank you award for Indifference in 2015 are...
Well, we have Black Mass. No, thank you. Dude looks gross. Like, I was just like, what is going on with this makeup? It's terrible. All right? And I just didn't want to watch it.
I agree. I saw it and I regret it.
Crimson Peak. No, thank you.
I liked Crimson Peak.
It just seems like a boring horror movie.
It's a little boring.
I don't
Not
know.
untrue.
It's good.
Okay, Trumbo. No thanks.
Yeah, good
I
call.
don't think any of us
It's like-
can really.
I don't want to watch a movie about a screenwriter.
Unless it's
Wow,
Babalu Mandel.
That was venomous. Oh, I would see a Babalu Mandel movie in
just
a second.
Babalu Mandel, not
Fuck
Lil
Lyle
Gans.
Babalu Mandel.
And I would see only Scott Alexander, not Larry Karaszewski.
Yes.
or however you say it.
Who would play Babalu Mandel? Goodman?
Goodman. Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
The role of Goodman's life.
That sounds good.
Okay, I think Ben still got two more
Okay.
no thank yous.
We have The Intern. Yeah. No thanks. Come on.
That was a twisty because you said yeah, like you're gonna like it, but it's a no.
No, that looks like garbage.
Babalu Mandel looks like a young Alan Arkin.
Oh.
Going
I always
for
thought he was a big
So
guy.
Adam Arkin, is that who we're
Not a
casting?
big guy.
Interesting.
Just to cast Adam Arkin?
Yeah, Adam Arkin. He'd be great.
Okay.
Oh, I'm into it.
Dave Krumholtz.
Crummy.
He's not skinny anymore.
Yeah.
As we saw in Hail Caesar.
And your fifth nominee for the no thank you award.
Everest. Yeah, no thanks.
The reason why?
I mean, it's just like I feel like you get it like right away that they're gonna get trapped on this fucking mountain.
You're forgetting something, Ben.
What?
Mountain is really big.
That's true.
It's true, but it would be cool if there were giants climbing it.
Okay, there we go.
It's just little people.
That's the concept I want to see. Giants climbing mountains.
Mhm.
You
That
never
makes
see
it
it.
more interesting.
When do you ever see that? Never.
Big Everest.
Never ever.
Big Everest.
Big Everest.
Big Everest.
Joe, thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you guys
podcast.
so much
Benny.
for having me.
Sharing your thoughts with us. Some classic Reid picks.
Thanks.
That was great, Joe.
Thanks.
I'm worn out.
Me
Yeah,
too.
that's a lot.
So when the Oscars are not this Monday, but next Sunday, but next.
February 28th.
28th.
Yes.
So
Day before Leap Day.
this will be coming out right the week of the Oscars.
The 23rd.
essentially.
Or the 22nd?
And I gotta say, a lot of good movies this year, but I am done with 2015.
Well, I feel
Yeah,
like
too.
we
Enough.
get that. We
Enough.
get to that point every Oscars, right? Where it's just like move on. 2016.
Let's do it.
Let's see
You
what's
know,
even
brand
coming
new
down
year.
the line.
I have something to plug. On Oscar night, February 28th,
Right.
I will be putting on a event of sorts at Union Hall, along with John Braylock and Gerard Milligan of the Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood podcast.
Great guys.
Great guys. One past guest, one who will hopefully be a future guest. But we are trying something. I have no idea if it's going to work or not, which is a great selling point for an event. But at Union Hall, they're going to screen the Oscars. We're not going to do live snarking over it because I fucking think you should watch the Oscars in peace.
I agree.
What we're going to do, the three of us and a group of other improvisers who are still being nailed down, are going to improvise during the commercial breaks these scenes that we believe are happening off camera. So it's going to be an improv show in between the commercial breaks of the Oscars,
Cool idea.
commenting on it. Sort of like the way a lot of improv shows use monologues for inspiration for scenes. We'll be using what happened earlier in the show
I like
to
it.
comment on them and kind of keep this long-form improv show going over the course of 3 hours to keep things live.
3 hours. You're so optimistic, Griffin.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea that I had with these guys, and we're seeing if it works or not, if this format has any value. If it worked, we'd maybe do it with other events. But that's Union Hall, February 28th. I think it's going to be like $10. You get to watch the Oscars with a bunch of people in a room. We will not make jokes over the show. You can watch it in peace. We're not going to be smart and snarky, and then you just get a little bonus value, a little content in the commercial breaks. So I want to plug that. If there isn't a listing already, there should be one on the Union Hall site by now. And also, I want to plug, as always, my petition to join the cast of Fast 8. I will say it has been sent along to some important people.
Is that right?
It has grazed some desks.
A certain Vin Diesel?
It's 1 degree away from Vin Diesel right now.
Ludicrous.
I don't want to put too fine a point on it.
I don't want to throw out anybody.
But it has gotten within Vin Diesel's production company, and it has gotten within Original Films, the main production company,
If you
behind
get
them.
this, I'll be impressed.
I am committed to nothing more in my life.
Very good.
So they can sign the petition, right?
bit.ly/FastGriffFurious. Sign the petition, share it, send it to friends. I'm doing this. I gotta do this one way or another. I'm doing this, even if I have to pull a Sean Young and show up in a Catwoman suit and break onto set and just run in front of the camera. I'm doing this.
They'd be so confused that you were dressed as Catwoman, though.
Yeah, but that's a good cross franchise pollination. Yeah. Joe, people can check you out on Decider.
Decider.com. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Reid, Reid. That's about it. Those are the places.
And you just Google Joe Reid. There's like the treasure trove of good pieces over the years.
Aw, thank you.
Very true.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
As always, please rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast, but the other podcast on the UCB Comedy Network.
We'll be back next week with back to Shyamacast.
Yes.
So cue up the Village rental.
Le
if
Village.
You're into that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, the Village.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw out a happy birthday to Leigh Montgomery, who does our theme song for the show.
Oh, happy birthday.
Comes in live every week, Reggie Watts style,
So
and then
dedicated.
leaves. His birthday I think was yesterday when we're recording this. Whatever. This is for him. Lane, this one's
happy
for
birthday,
you.
buddy.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Lane, this one is for you. Thanks for listening, everybody. Ben, thanks for being the best in the biz. He's in the studio today. We forgot to mention that. He's in the studio with us, sitting here on a mic, because I know that's the thread that everyone's holding on to.
Oh boy, they
is
never
where
know
Ben
what's
is
going to
in
happen.
relation to us.
Yep.
And as always, my pick for the Irving Thalberg Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award would go to Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Trip. It's the Lifetime Achievement Award for the movie.
Boo.
Yay.